and and I'm sure that tonight you are all going to be. Let me just do one thing there and then come back across to us. Not so sure what's happening, but let's do this. Let's see what's happening.
You should know this by now. DBS got the number one sounds. There is no other. Oh no, not in this world. Yeah, man. This is Glenn Washington. DBS are the boss. See?
Motorcycle riders, a helmet is your friend, not your enemy. Wear it. It may just save your life. A message from the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force and this station.
This is DBS, the station bringing you more music, talk, and news. Whenever there's a breaking story, a new hit, or topics for debate, count on your nation station. We are the first for news, the first for talk, and the best in music mixers. So when you want the best and you want it first, tune in to your nation station, Radio DBS.
Let's remember to say good morning, thank you, excuse me, and I'm sorry. Simple acts of courtesy help make our world a much better place.
A message from the National Cultural Council and DBS Radio.
I got to build my nation. We got to build your nation. We got to build this nation. That's why I got to build my nation.
Find peaceful ways to resolve any differences of someone else. Do not resort to violent acts. Violence only leads to trouble.
A message from DBS Radio and the National Cultural Council.
I got to build my nation. We got to build your nation. We got to build this nation. That's why I got to build my nation.
This is DBS Radio.
The Nation Station DBS Radio. We are back. It's already 8 minutes going down after the hour of 7 o'clock on a beautiful Sunday evening, 15th day of the month of March, the year 2026. And we have with us in studio another guest, as we do most all Sundays, to get someone that we can relate with the yard. Last week we had a very pounding, emotional, heart-quenching story from a young lady who would have gone through her Lakou. And I know that many people may not have understood her struggles in the Lakou, but last week she was able to speak with us on the Lakou of her life. And so tonight we have with us Mr. Emmanuel Christian and Mr. Emmanuel Christian most persons know him as Billy. And we will speak in a while and he will tell us everything. I just want to apologize for my co-host, Mr. Hartly. Tonight he's not able to be here with us, unfortunately. I know that he wanted to be here, but unfortunately for him, it's not possible. Just want to say good evening to all our viewers. Those of you all who are viewing on television channel 50, and those of you all viewing via YouTube and Facebook. I just want to say good evening to you all. So let's go to studio 2. Good evening to you, Mr. Christian.
Good evening to you. We can keep to one word, Adolphus.
Adolphus.
So we have no confusion.
Okay, Adolphus.
Yeah.
That okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't have any confusion. But you
Absolutely
said that
not.
most persons know you as Billy.
No. I wouldn't say most people. I'd say family and friends.
Okay.
Once
so,
I hear Billy, I know it's people who grew up with me or something like that.
okay. So we will say, and
Okay.
we will say
Adolphus.
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 Right, Adolphus.
Right.
Right. First of all, Adolphus, welcome to the studios of DBS Radio.
Thank you very much.
And I am happy that you were able to make it to our studios. We spoke this week.
Yes.
And you were able to say yes to the
to the invitation.
And that, I must say to you, I'm very, very happy.
Okay.
You are an individual has quite a lot of information, especially in the right now we call it the city of Roseau. Before, in the days growing up, it was called the tongue of Roseau.
That's right.
And now we call it the city of Roseau.
That's right.
And so tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of your parents' name, your siblings.
Okay. My father used to be, boys, old timers alone will remember him, Samuel Christian. They used to call him Sambo. He worked various areas. He was what we used to call in those days a watchman. They call him security personnel now. And so only my sister and I, all the others, it's 9 of us, and I'm the last. And the one Joseph and my sister, we were baptized. Well, they call it baptized, but you could say dedicated in the Methodist Church. All the others were Catholic. So he used to be a sexton there. I did a lot of sexton work myself, rang the bell, opened the church, closed the church, the Methodist Church we now have. So my father is suspect because of his connection with the Methodist authorities. Was given permission to occupy. You know, in those days when you pour, it's where you get to live, you live. So we lived at Chateau, and during the period of our stay there, I was born. Well, my sister first, Dorothy, this is quite a while now, and then I came. So only 2 of us were born there. And we moved to, after 2 years or so, we moved to Great George Street in Lakou Tavernier. That in itself, we can write a book about that time there. So that's how we go. Then my mother got a house. Those days it was difficult to get houses to rent in the corner of River Street and Old Street. So we used to call it 62 Old Street. That was the address. And that's where we grew up. I grew up to a certain extent, and that's where I started going to SME, 1963. And of course, from there we moved to another haunted house. That's another story by itself.
You have to talk about that too, eh? All of that. We're going to be talking all about that.
I have a brother at home. He likes to talk about that.
Yeah, so we have to talk about that. So I just want to say good evening to Cecil Joseph, my daughter. She said, hi, Daddy, good night, good evening to you, Cecily. Sandra Sayer says, good evening to everyone. And Cecil, Rosalind Severin McLean says, good evening, panel, listening from New York. And Tina Bell, the Romaine, said that Billy and I went to Sunday school
together
as children at the Methodist Church.
That's a fact.
So already someone's already
Tina
saying
Bell.
Yes, Tina Bell. Yes.
My friend.
Yes. She said that you all went to school together. Already
Yes.
Billy, you have moved to 49 viewers on the Facebook.
The Facebook, okay.
So already 40 now.
Yes.
Randy Turner said, good evening to you in Brooklyn, New York. So he's in Brooklyn, New York. So let's go back. So you talk about, there were 9 of you all, but you were able to only talk about yourself and your sister.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about more of your other siblings.
Oh boy. And I just find all of a sudden they are just going. So the first to go have gone is a brother. He is the second child of my mother. The first child of all of us, older, was Mr. Stedman Patrick Mello. My brother went first. He lived most of his life I don't know if it's most of his life. In England, where in those days, these guys made a lot of children, about 10 or 11 children. And then I had another brother, Oliver Christian, who used to work in the prisons. He was a prison officer, and he was in New York. He died a couple years ago. He too has some kind of 10 or 11 children. So it's a sort of prolific type of people in terms of growing, making children, those things. No, I'm not among them. So we have those 2, and then who again? There's another sister. She just died, just somewhere in February or so. She lived in England for some years, probably over 8 years, and then in the States for a greater number of years, and then she retired. She went to, where's that, St. Croix, and she just died. So how many I call there? And there's another one who they call Rock Kwame from Portsmouth. And he was living for the last probably 20 years in Canada, where he spent a lot of years in Haiti. He used to talk French fluently. He was a Methodist minister. He died a couple of years ago too. And so we had this sister who died way back on my birthday in 1978, I think. I had just returned from Trinidad studying forestry. So right now it's only myself, Elzof. Everybody know Elzof Augustine used to play football for Asnas, Combermia, or the other places again. I think Blackburns, Spartans was his main areas. And we're Asnas, Spartans, Blackburn, and Combermia. But Asnas was my most favorite, and he was a prolific scorer. I used to call him a scoring machine in those days. So I have, he was very athletic. He used to get medal in high jump and pole vault and distance running. So these guys were good. What I used to do myself, I used to do high jump, short as I am. I would come out second. I remember Lennox Xavier, my friend in Point Bishop, he came out first. So I was a high jumper, sprinter. So whenever we sprint, my team and my group would come out first or second. So that's what I did in terms of athlete. Of course, I love football a lot. Cricket, I couldn't play cricket too well. But that is that. So I told you about the two older sisters and then the young sister. So we now have another one in England. They call him St. Louis Libla. This one, you'll hear different surnames. You wonder why. And he came from Vickers. He's in England, and he's over 18 now. And these are the three of us now. Yes, Libla, Elzof, and myself. Three of us are alive.
You said
so
that
6 of them went.
So you said that you will hear various names. Help us to understand.
No, I'm not going in that one. Sorry.
You can tell us.
Sorry, not going in that one.
How many different surnames that in your siblings you had?
For you, let me call them.
I was taking notes.
Let's jump from that one. We have a packed program tonight. We have a lot of interesting things to talk about.
Okay, all right. I'll take you on board.
Yes.
Yolan Kepper is watching. Good evening to you, Yolan.
Yes.
Edna Ernest said that good evening, Cecil and listeners and listening audience watching from Houston. Aline Minad Man is watching in Connecticut. Avanel Samuel says that good evening and is watching and listening.
Yes.
Justina Cognat is watching in Portsmouth.
Okay.
And I know Melo, his sister, with the sewing place.
That's right.
That's someone who said that. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So now, growing up, you said that you...
I'm going to give you one hint before
Yes,
you go on.
yes.
My mother was a Carib. So we're not going to...
Oh, your mother was a Kalinago?
Yes.
Which part of the Kalinago territory
Carib.
she came from?
No. Her father came from there, but they settled in Wesley.
Uh-huh.
So that's where she lived her young days with her sisters. Wesley. My holidays time was in there too, Wesley. And Marigot had an auntie there. Some people might remember Masoni George, you know. So there were a lot of sisters who spread. We even had one in Guadeloupe. We're trying to locate her now. So yes,
So your
you
family is
asking a
far.
question.
Your family is far and wide.
That's all you're going to say. You're going to ask. You're asking me something now.
Yes, I was saying in terms of your siblings, you all live together at any given time.
That's a very good question you asked there. Yes, sir. In the same Lakou Tavernier, believe it or not.
10.
In that liquor, no, 9.
9.
Yes, I remember my brother, the Methodist minister, Rock Kwame, my other brother, Edmund George. Well, my sister was in Curacao, so she and her husband were up there at the time. They were not married yet. But so I only know her after a while, when I was about 13 years. But, or a little younger than that. But the others, Cynthia, the one who just died there, and Libla didn't stay for long, the one in England. Yes, at one time, I couldn't understand. Actually, No, and then I sit down and wonder how all of us could have been in that little house. You know, in those days you had what they call, you had is it bicard? Those
Yes,
fencing
bicard.
area.
Yes, bicard.
And it would divide that bed, the big bed there, and the small bed for the children, and the others would make bed in the drawing room. You know, that was our situation. So that's how we were in Lakou Tavernier, and Lakou Tavernier, as I know you know, had some long houses, and I lived in that house. Remember Francis Richards? They were living down, and Clement Richards, his father, he was a music lover and so on, and they lived just in the beginning.
I want us to come to that. I want us to come to Lakou Tavernier because I have a very interesting.
Okay, you too.
Yes.
You have a history there.
I too have a history in Lakou Tavernier.
Yes.
So it's important that
we could live it a little
we could live a little later.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So you said that your siblings. At what age you think that you all would have left Chateau to go to Lakou Tavernier?
I think I remember as a more or less a toddler. So I think I left Lakou Tavernier because my best friend at the time, Maurice Burton, his mother, who's also from Wesley, was my mother's good friend when they were growing up from Wesley. They lived in that yard too. That's how my brother got to have children. If his sister in there, sister is older than us naturally. Brother is the prison officer I'm talking about. He had 2 children with her. So that's how they got together, because we left Chateau and we went there at a certain time. But I think I must have been about 2 years when I work it out.
Okay. All right. We have some 66 people actually viewing at this time. Your numbers are going up quickly. We have Crispin Piper watching. Good evening to you, Crispin. Lester JB is also watching. And Jennifer Christmas. James is also watching.
Jennifer Christmas?
Yes, Jennifer Christmas.
I know that one. She's from Wesley.
I think she's from Wesley.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's going to respond on Facebook.
Yes, she used to go to Wesley High School or somewhere around there.
Right.
Yes. Okay, go on.
No. I want to find out because you do not know much of your living in Chateau.
Yeah,
people who are listening.
I killed a cat. He had many cats. I choked the cat as a little boy, little baby.
No, people. I need people to know where we are talking about when we speak about Chateau.
Describe it.
Where and describe.
Where the junior Wesley High School is now, in Hillsborough Street. They live in an upstairs there. That is the Chateau. That is owned by Methodists. That is why the Wesley High School could use there now. So we live below there, under that building. It's called Chateau. It was also mixed infant school, the senior. I went to that school too.
So you're saying to us the building that is presently there?
Yes, that's Chateau.
Has always been there for that 70 plus years?
That was the only time, as far as I know. I was born there.
I would ask the question again.
Yes.
The building that we are seeing on Hillsborough Street.
Yes.
Where the first stage of the Wesley High School students are going.
That's right.
You are saying that building is over 70 years?
Probably more than that, because the older girls, in fact, the Wesley High School, that's where they were going, you know. My godmother used to go there, and they used to come, those Wesley High School girls, and you know, hold my sister and myself, because we were small, you know. Little girls like to play with children, and that's how she got to be my godmother. She was this fella's sister, Southwell, and she was very fair in complexion. Her father was Ayub, something like that, I think they told me. He used to have a store somewhere in Old Street, and have some pretty cars. Is it Ayub? Yes. Ayub Deep? Yes, I see. So they used to call her Joseph.
Is it Ayub Deep? Ayub Deep?
Ayub Deep. Her name was, I think, Joseph. Southwell. This is Southwell. Died the other day. His sister was also his sister. Same mother, I think.
So that's a very interesting story you're giving us about that building there. Because some of us see this building there and we might just think that it's a building about 40, 50 years old. You're telling us it actually housed people like you.
I tell you, opposite there was the Coronation Hall. We used to go to dance there. Just opposite there.
We'll come to that. We will come to that. We'll come
Billy
to.
Green was living directly Chateau in that place.
We will
That's
come-
where I got the name Billy from.
We'll come about the opposition of the opposite side.
Yes.
In a while. But I wanted to tell us a little bit more because I'm sure you did not live far away in terms of Lakou Tavernier to Chateau.
No man, just a few steps.
That's a few steps away.
Yes,
So
that's right.
I wanted to give us a description of how that Chateau building was. Because you're saying that both the upstairs and the downstairs was actually there.
Yeah.
So tell us exactly how people reside in that area.
Boy, things must have been. Only thing I could say, we must have been dirt poor, because downstairs, when I used to go to mixed school there, downstairs had some kind of iron sort of structure. Nobody lived there. We had no school there, no classes there. All the classes were upstairs. The lady called Miss Hartly was the principal at the time, and we used to live up there. And I'm talking about in the early 60s, because when you come out from Mrs. Shillingford's Rosa Girls School, you go there for 2 years, from Standard 2 to Standard 3. Having left Mrs. Robinson's school, infant school, opposite in Cock Street, opposite Carams. From there, you go down to Rosa Girls School. From Rosa Girls School, you go to the mixed infant. They always call it mixed infant. The boys, mixed infant. I don't know why they call it mixed, because only boys went there at that time, Miss Watley's thing. So there was just this little iron sort of thing down there, all I could say, looking like prison. And then upstairs is where we had our classes. I don't know how it is now. Probably now they have renovated it, and they make use of the space downstairs.
So the downstairs,
only upstairs we were using at the time.
So the downstairs is where you all lived.
That is right.
What kind of condition you think at the time? Even after you left.
You're right in saying thing, because I was too small to know.
No, that's what I'm saying, that after you left,
yes,
you would have known as to what went on there, because just a few stone away from your home. What was the kind of condition that was there?
The truth is, I cannot. I remember if my brother Elzuf, he went to that school. During that period, they must have. Remember, there was the West Side School first. Talking about probably the mid-50s, and probably stopped housing the West Side School. Somebody probably who is hearing that program probably can throw some light if they know. And then the boys, the mixed infant, senior boys, let's say the boys' school, because they had Rosa Boys' School. We have to identify them separate from the Rosa Boys' School, and that place was in Newtown area. There's that building there. What you just enter.
Just behind the Jehovah's building there.
Right.
By the Savannah.
Right.
That's where the old Rosa Boys School was.
Good. Mr.
Yes.
Fingal then was the headmaster. This is Fingal. And then later on, we had Mr. Pond, who wrote the words of our national anthem. And it, the tune was given by my namesake, H.L. Christian, the musician. Mm-hmm. So this is Rosa Boys School. This was Rosa Boys School, and where I tell you, where I was born, on top became mixed school. I went to that school. Remember Solo, the Calypsonian?
Yes.
Raphael Francis, the mighty Rakou. We actually sat down on the same bench in Rosa Girls School. We used to sing calypso on each other. Two of them went to sing at the national level. I never went on. And in my view, I used to make better calypsos than them. I don't want to boast, but to me, and those others went far.
No, Gilbert, Signoret. I'm sure you know that name.
Of course.
Right. Gilbert Signoret says, I know that building from my childhood, and my father used to give us the history of these old buildings in Roseau. And that building must be close or more than 80 plus years.
Might be true.
As the son of Mr. Signoret,
yes,
former
I'm trying
president.
to figure out if it's the second one or the first one. The first one, he was in my same class. We were in fifth form in estimate together. If you see, I can't remember which the first name I'm thinking of.
Gilbert, yeah. No.
Uh-huh.
How many people would have been living downstairs if you know at the chateau? If you can remember
It's
by any
just
chance.
us three.
Just
Nobody
you.
else. Just
How
us
did
family.
you all get to live at chateau then?
I just told you my father was a sexton Methodist, and he was like involved in helping a lot. And so I was helping a lot while going to school, SME. And so he had favor with the Methodist authorities. I'm talking about the minister, the pastor there. And so they must have given him that place after he met my mother, you know. So that's the only thing I can think of. And so we didn't have a place to stay. My mother came from Wesley, the Carib lady, and so they stayed there. And that's where we were for a while, a very short while. But before I was born, they were there.
Your dad, where did your dad came from?
Remember, I was born. Oh, but look at the clue right there in front of me. I was born in 1949. We're going back, we're past the 50s. So which means they must have been there quite a while. I mean, I won't say quite a while, but I mean, that place was owned by Methodist authorities. So that must have been existing for quite some time. No, that's when he says about 80 years. We're in what?
We're in 26.
26, and we're looking at 40
So
something.
51 and 26 is how many already?
Yes.
And that is 79.
Yeah, it's more than that.
So it's more than that.
It's more than that. Much more than that. So, yes, that thing, that has been there for a while. So it has a history, that house, that building there, over there. And people used to live on the other side there. I know a lot of people used to live there. I remember Christmas time, I drank so much sorry. I got sick because is alcohol I was drinking. Sorry, that ginger beer. Because that's what children drank during the Christmas season, quote unquote. Mm-hmm.
No, your dad, where your dad came from? That because the name Christian sounds very foreign.
I'm going to give you something very brief here, history. My father, I observed, never really took the time to check family trees and the history. However, one day I went on a government trip to Jamaica, one of the party. But it was soon after Hurricane David. I found myself in a position, I don't know how I got there, because I'm a forester. I didn't have to do anything with fisheries, but I had to do fisheries. When I went there, the lady who was in charge of the thing really looked like an African. I remember her very well, big fat lady, short. When we were meeting her the second day, so we had to all walk up to her, shake her hands and talk with her, so in a line. People from Trinidad, from Guyana, all over the Caribbean. And so when my turn came, she looked at my little, I don't know if you call it badge, the little tag with the names of the candidates. And she quickly said, "You're a Christian." So I look at her own quickly too. But I see that her surname is not Christian. She said, "Never mind that. That's my husband's surname. I'm a Christian." So she said, at the cocktail on Thursday, remember that? Well, when you all come, I'm going to take you to my father. He will be there. Apparently, he likes to talk about his surname. Most Christians like to do that. I'm talking about surname now. And so, as I reached there that day, she took me straight to her father. He was so delighted to meet me. And he started to give me the history without asking him one thing. And I was so happy. He said the Christians came from Ghana. He said there were two brothers who left Ghana, and they came to Jamaica. And one of them left Jamaica and went to Antigua, and that is the one who spread these wild oats, because most of the Christians came from Antigua. Remember, Dominica is in the middle. So at one time, we were part of the Leeward Islands. We are now Windward, but we were Leeward at the time. So you had a lot of guys from Antigua, policemen here. My grandfather, my father's father, was an Antiguan policeman in Dominica, and H.L. Christian's father, I heard, was a police officer as well, different policeman. And then somebody went to St. Croix, because there are a lot of Christians up there as well. So they stayed in Jamaica. One brother stayed there, and the other one was the one who really spread that Christian seeds all over. So they came from over there and they're here. Now there's some of them who settled in Portsmouth, some Christians. They had one or two down Dalis too. And they also had in Granby. So you look at Portsmouth, you look at Granby, you look at Dalis, and of course my father was in town, Roseau. My mother, that's a strange thing, my grandmother, her name was Elizabeth Huckleman. I've never heard somebody else with that surname, Huckleman. So I told myself, and the way she used to talk, just like a Montstratian. So I said, probably she came from either Antigua or Montserrat, or her parents came from there. She was not talking like a Dominican. But in those days, you don't ask. Children are not smart as now. They were street smart.
I don't think they were not. I don't think that they were not smart. It was not a common place to ask your parents or ask adults certain questions.
No, but looking back at it, I should have asked when I think of that. But yes, what you say there is also true. And so I never really knew much about my grandmother, but I loved that lady, and we all loved her. So yes, and that is the little bit I get to know. And so I came to the conclusion most of the Christians here, if not all, are connected somehow, are related with I'm talking about bloodline now. All of them are connected somehow or the other.
I can imagine that. So you can say that basically from Ghana to Antigua.
Yes.
And Dominica.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And people talk about some Africans, the surname Christian, came directly to Dominica.
No, your father, you said that he was a guard. No, we call them security officers.
Yeah, yes.
What kind of impression that your father would have left as a security officer among his peers?
Well, among his peers, he was a no-nonsense man, I can tell you that. He feared no one. When I tell you no, I've never met another man like this man, you know. And in those early days, people were afraid of white people. If a white person come and knock on your door, you'd run back inside and say, Mama, Mommy, Daddy, look, Papa, look, a white man is at the door. But if a colored person come, that's okay, that's normal. But for some reason or the other, we were ordered by the white people, not my father. There was an incident where the watchman, he used to work Domlec. We actually lived on the land of Domlec at one time. They used to call it Dominica Electricity Services. It's CDC, we used to call it in those days. And he came and he wasn't joking. That thing, I think is not Lord or King, Lord. And he wanted to meet everybody. He too was a no-nonsense man. So they told my father, he came twice down where we had CDC, the ice factory, Chapeau the factory was close to us in those days, making ice, because people didn't have refrigerators in those days. So we used to go and buy a block of ice, and the shops would sell ice, and people go and buy ice, a pound of ice for $1. Not $1, penny, sorry, penny halfpenny. But anytime you hear me say dollar talking about long ago, I mean penny. And so my father heard that. My father is not the man to get scared, no. My father blocked the roadway and waiting for him to come back, because he was vexed because he went and he couldn't see the watchman there. But my father probably was in some vehicle, probably taking a nap there. He's supposed to be up, but I mean, this man hardly used to sleep. So he come and the watchman is, the manager, the white manager from England is coming inside there, speeding, and you see those big drums there, and he had to quickly put his foot on the brakes. So the watchman came, so my father came out. He said, "Who the hell are you?" That is, you see the white man. White man said, "I'm the manager," hoping he'd get scared. If I said, as a matter of fact, I don't care who the hell you are. You have no right to come there. So the watchman said. So he said, so my father, remember my father telling you that my father laughs there. He said, next time you come, you have to blow the horn. So thieves do not blow horn. Boy, let me tell you, that gets my father more hostile again. He doesn't like to lose anything. Yes, he was a
try to get into the mic.
Yeah. He was a no-nonsense guy. Oh, I must have been talking away from that all the time. Yes, and very honest man. Very, very honest man.
You said that your father was a Saxon for the Methodist Church.
Yes, Saxon, yeah.
And
but his profession was agriculture, yeah?
Yes. So for persons who might be wondering, a Saxon is a person who rings the bell for the church.
Yes, so and he pumped the organ, because they had an organ in those days. You know what is the organ pipes? Those big things, they got the back and it popped.
To get that song.
And the lady, Bridgewater, whoever she was, playing the organ, for the church. He used to do that. So when he started to work at CDC, when he get that job, that was his steady job. He never moved from there till the end, till he died. Then I used to go there because he was busy at times. So if somebody dies, I'd go and toll the bell for him. He'd tell me what to do. He used to, the earliest night, for example, he'd take me right up in the belfry and he'd say, "Bill, I want you to observe that. that the old air is wrestling with the new air. He showed me everything, that man. We were extremely close. So he showed me how to toll the bell. He showed me what to do, even how to pump the organ. I never pumped the organ, but I used to toll the bell. I would ring the bell for whatever occasion. And there were guys, my friends like Alvin Knight, Gifford Sandy, Augustus Collier, the same solo, Constance, Melvin Constance, other guy, Morris Burton. These guys would come with me because we all used to move like a little clique and would wash the minister's vehicle, open and close the church every day, every night. So if I go up in the country on holidays, one of them would come. My father used to pay them. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a very interesting story. I like that.
Yeah.
That means some level of discipline was among you all.
I can tell you. You know this fella, Arthur, he died the other day, Arthur Smith?
Yes.
Yeah. Arthur used to live in the Lakou Tavernier yard too. So he used to come there with me now and then, and Burton. And I would tell Maurice, let us do something happening. So Arthur is a very curious, and I used to ask a lot of questions. So we passed a place he called a briar. What happened? Something you put the coffin on, and they have the coffin. And as we pass in there from the belfry, right up there where the bell is, I made a noise like a digger's man. Morris and I started to run because we talk already. After Morris is very fast. He was the fastest Morris to come to running. Do you know that Arthur was behind Morris? And when I look back, I see Arthur coming down, face first, rolling down the step. He's pushing in his hand, and Morris behind him. Up, and I don't know how you could have passed Morris. And that was a joke with us as we grew up over the years. If I was alive still, he had to just start to laugh. You know what I'm talking about. No, boys would be boys, of course.
No. So that is Lakou.
Tavernier.
No, that's Lakou.
Chateau.
Mm-hmm. I know that I spoke to a few people. Mm-hmm. For instance, Curtis, may his soul rest in peace. Curtis Augustine told me that he went to that school.
Yes.
He went to Chateau School.
Yes.
So there's quite a number of boys who actually went to that school.
Randy Peters, for example, the assessor of vehicles, motor vehicles. Yeah, he was there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Daniel Shillingford, a lot of us were there.
So people see that school there today and not knowing its history, thinking that it's only these girls who started the school first. Yeah. But you're saying long before that, boys went to that school.
Yeah, the girls started off, and then the boys came, and then the girls seem to have come back again. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, let's talk, because I have to come back to Hillsborough Street when we're talking about all aspect. But I want to go across now to, but before I go across, I'd rather go across because I don't think you would know no, it's not that you will not know, but I don't want to ask you in reference of the condition of the area. Let's now go across just one step, just over a wall.
Yeah.
That you have to go to the next place, Lakou Tavernier. Now, why Lakou Tavernier?
I don't. It seems to me the guy who owned that place, because I remember in early 60s, I was the one. I was a little moose boy. I've always been the moose boy, even among my people now, children. I went in. I used to go and pay the rent for my father. Yes, I grew up. I was real worked up, and I never complained for one. From time I know myself to work, I'm working. And I used to pay the rent, both for the house in 62 Old Street, where my mother had gotten there, and we shifted across, and Lakou Tavernier. A guy by the name of Mr. Kazimi, he used to live, incidentally, close to his house. 62 Old Street, the next house that's where his family lived. And it's here I used to give the money, $4 a week for the rent, or was it a month? And so let me talk to you a little bit, if that's what you want to know about that place. There was this long house, as I said, and you had about 3 different families there. There's a lady called Cook. The first.
Sorry, I'm sorry to disturb you, but before you go into this, we need to describe to people where is Lakou Tavernier, because someone is asking on Facebook, where is Lakou Tavernier?
Oh, we haven't done that yet.
Yes.
The closest landmark I can talk about, a very interesting landmark, most recently is Pablo Richard. he had this business, Madesh, somewhere around
That's
there.
Madish, yes.
Yeah.
Not somewhere around there. On the building. On the land.
On the land
On the
itself.
land itself.
Yes, that is where Lakou Tavernier was,
Yes.
inside there.
Yes.
And there are a couple of houses there, the Bellot people there, so we passed between them. There was that yard. Oh, we had a history about that yard going inside there. But the more interesting landmark is directly in front of us was the Dominica Grammar School. And I can tell you in those days it was Mr. Archer who was the headmaster. I remember all that inside there. And then you had even my boss in the Forestry division. I remember I used to see him going there as a cadet, Mr. Maxime. So we little boys, I said boys would be boys. We used to climb across there and play football and cricket. And you must have a sentry, somebody watching to send the police coming. And fellas would like to come around and say, police coming. Lie, joking, and would fly over the thing, end up in upper lane. So that is where. So as a little boy growing up, I'd like to drill, and they had the cadet, the grammar school cadet. Eventually, I never went to grammar school. That is the school I wanted to go. Oh, I used to live inside there, and every time I come out, grammar school is there, and there are a lot of great people there who went to grammar school. Edison James went there. In fact, my mother used to but students from Marigot Wesley. He was my mom living at the same house at Telly Street. I was going to mixed school at the time. So you had it there. Then the minister, I think is deceased, the one from La Plaine, I'm trying to remember his name, Alexander, who also lived at home. I remember him going to that school, Mr. Maxime, and other people, well-known people I know went to that school. There's some who went I wouldn't know, much older than me. But that is the school I wanted to go. And end up I did not go because they had what they call entrance, common entrance. Not common entrance, but entrance specific to Dominica Grammar School. So you had to do exam there to go to SME. SME had its own exam, Convent had its exam, and Wesley High School had its own exam. So there were only 4 secondary schools in those days. I did not pass the grammar school own. But I went to the SME one and I passed. So I went there. That's how I ended up. But that's not where I wanted to go. And I can tell you today, Cecil, I am so happy I went to that school.
Well, before we go to school, because we're going to come to school, let's talk about Lakou Tavernier.
Yes,
that's where you're raised.
We are still there.
Yes, let's talk about it.
We're still there. Mm-hmm. So what else you want me to say? Do you want me to talk about the culture of the place?
No, I wanted to talk about you growing up in Lakou Tavernier, the things that you all would have done as a boy. 5 years growing up as a boy,
Okay.
What did you all do in Lakou Tavernier?
Okay. I was probably the last, because my sister's about a year plus older than me, inside there. Morris Burton, I think, was younger than me by two months. So all of us were in there, John Wiseau and all those guys and so on. But I found that inside there, at that age you talk about, and I was growing up there, that everybody was calling my name. So I had to go, I was the messenger in that yard. I had to go and buy ice for my brothers, buy ice for the neighbors, go and buy sugar, go and buy breeze, we had breeze in those days, Tide, and so on. What, if you want to know about the history that strikes me about that yard, everybody, it's a strange thing that used to happen in those days. I found myself very, very much sensitive to respect inside there. I respected every adult inside there. They all loved me. And so they will call me to go and do their business and I'll do it. The thing about me, I had something they call a sec, which was a ring from a tire. And I'd take a piece of wood and I'd hit that sec and I'd move fast. And if you want me to send me to do a message for you, I must take my sec. And I'll do that in a record time. So I would not move without my sec. So I was there. And I used to do so much work. I'm giving you a little incident to understand how I grew up inside there. Because when I was sick in there, everybody would come and see me. 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, if they hear I'm sick. And I was going there once. And here it is. I put my hand in my pocket and I found a 10-cent piece. No, a 10-cent piece was good money in those days. And I could not for the life of me understand what that 10 cent is doing there. Remember, I tell you I should make messages for everybody. I sat down and I tried to figure out who gave me 10 cents to buy something, and I couldn't think that. So after a while, I came to the conclusion, it's some money that end up in my pocket, and I have no idea how it is. So my brother Elzov had a very nice wallet. They used to buy that, sell that wallet at Nassif in those days. And I went to him. He used to work at Nassif. And I said, Elzov, I noticed you have a nice blue wallet there. And I have a 10 cents. No, you'll take 10 cents for it? He told me, yeah, man. But he liked Jackery, yeah? Bear it in mind. He liked Jackery. So I gave him the 10 cents. And I think there was a hip in my pocket. So he take 2 of them. That's 11 cents. So he gave me the thing. As I'm running out, he saw one lady called Miss Alfia. But Mighty Joe York, they should give me a lot of names. I stop, I say, yes, ma'am. Where's the tie they asked you to buy? I say, oh, shit. The 10 cents and the hipney is 11 cents for a box of tie, the small one. Boy, where's Elzov, boy? I say, yes, I come in. And I run outside, straight by my Olive store. Olive used to supply all the goodies for the guys going to grammar school and mixed school. And I see Elzov just about to receive some jackery from Mr. Olive. I said, no, not to give it to him. I said, Elzov, that is Miss Olive money I have there, boy. Boy, lady asked me for a breeze. So as I said, boy, give it back to me. He tell me, well, give me back my wallet. I remember. I said, look, take your wallet. I took back the 10 cents. I run to buy the thing. That is how much I used to be working inside here for the people, making messages here and there. I actually, even at young age, had no idea how that 10 cent piece go there. But thank God, he didn't touch the jackery yet.
Now, would you remember the people that lived in that yard?
Yeah. There was Ma John. She died some time ago. Her husband lives Kenfield. We call him Daddy Nan. They had a child by the name of Annie Emmanuel. There was Miss Annie who died, Annie Mills. And as I said, there were the Richards, Francis and his family there. One they called Cook. And there's a lady called Mrs. Shillingford and Mr. Shillingford. They were married. There was a couple. And I talk about Alfia. And there's a guy they would call Motut. And there's another guy, I seen his face, but I can't remember him. And then there was Gifford Sandy. The Sandys lived on there. And later on, I think Zudi came in to live, but we had already left there. Zudi was a guy, he grew up in River Street, more or less. He ended up being my mechanic. But he used to trim me. Zudi was a multi-talented guy. He used to trim me when I go to school. And there's a history that took place because of Zudi. So he came to live there, and he used to fix up radios, he'd fix up all kind of, we used to call them gramophone and different things. He was a very technically minded person. Yeah. And as you know, your history in there was partly because of that man. And something happened in his house with all those wires that caused a big fire there. We'll come to that.
Yes, we'll come to that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can remember the people that actually lived there.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of life? No running water, no toilets.
No.
The things that is required for the ordinary
functioning,
ordinary poor persons to function.
Yes,
you did not have them there.
No, we didn't have them. So what we did for our sanitary purposes, so to speak, and to do what we must do, we used to go to the riverside. So it was not far-fetched to find many people going there late in the night. There was a guy who used to actually do things. Poor as people were, they used to employ poorer people to throw their stuff. And his name was King Kaka. That's how they used to call him. King
yes.
Kaka. As one that we were talking about.
Because I was having a conversation once with an interview, and I was telling my guest that I know that he is the nephew of King Kaka.
sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
To laugh like that.
And he wasn't aware that I knew. But I'm of age. And I told him that I know that King Kaka was his uncle, and I don't think it was funny of him,
yeah.
Coming from me telling him that, you know.
He didn't appreciate it that much, or what?
No, he didn't. I must say. But the fact is, he's his uncle.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
But King Kaka was a very peaceful citizen, by the way, because we had a lot of guys in those days, characters like Mawson, Piche, Akuras, Lapusinia, and Akuras would send a stone behind you, say, Akuras, Piche, and he used to actually take his hand and direct the stone and to come and hit you, whether you run on left and right. And we used to see that live, and fellas were afraid, but they still used to trouble him. And there's the one who solo sang about Melvin, my good friend,
Yes.
the other day, sang about in his thing.
Simbot.
Where he say, he'd come, give it to Jackary's mentin. I mean, these are guys I met during my time as a little boy around there and so on. So we had that. So we had fellas trouble. I never was among those troubling. I didn't grow up like that. But my peer groups, they troubled the guy. But I think you wanted to go, what are the type of things we did? They had a sec, a thing, they had the truck pushing, they had a corned beef tin for the face of the truck. And you'd be pushing the truck with a stick in the street. There used to be other scooters, little things like that. Because you're poor, so you have to make your toys in those days. I remember us fencing at the riverside with thing, and a big man actually choked me with the thing. I wanted to kill me, man. I tell you, that hit me for a whole week. One of the little sticks we used to take at the riverside for us to fence. I saw a lot of that. We had high jump playing there at the time. We used to play knots in the gutter in front. And we would go, and all of us would put our nuts together and go and roast it at the riverside.
Oh, no, in that area, we know that it was a longhouse. How many people will actually reside in an apartment in the longhouses?
Well, as I told you, I couldn't understand why all my brothers and sisters could fit in that little place there. I was a little boy, so that wasn't a problem, me and my sister. So I don't know, like in the Richards, I think they had 3 or 4 children, the husband and the wife. Liz was their mother's name, and then Clement Richards was the father. I would say about 6 of them in there, or 5. Cook herself only had her nephews, 2 of them. Baby, he died the other day, and one they called Francis, Etienne. So they used to be in that place, 3 of them. Miss Annie, her daughter Cynthia, and Maurice Burton. 3 of them used to live there. So I think her mother was there. Elderly mother died after a while. Ma John, she used to have fowls in there, and she also had those little doves. This is a cook, cook, cook. But she was a very clean lady, I remember, and Annie. So the 3 of them used to live there. And again, a little later, if you wish, we'll come back to an incident involving Tongbod when you reach to the topic of talking about how the city was run. It's not run, R-U-N, run. How it was managed by these 2 Tongbods alone, and their name was Solomon, and everybody knows Solomon Shacks, his son, and you had Martin and Antigan, I think, on Monstrati, and my brother tells me, I don't know. These 2 guys literally terrorized the city of Roseau, which means to say, inside those little ghettos, if you want to call us that, the Lakou Tavernier, we had to have been very hygienic.
So here it
talk
is.
about that later.
Here it is. You have this longhouse. You have several families. They don't have running water. They don't have toilets. But they
used to exist.
They had to be clean. How
Very
so?
clean. Let me tell you, we had the pipe. We had public stand pipe right in the corner of Hillsborough Street and Great Judge Street. Great Judge Street is street leading onto the bridge going out of town. The same street like where Lakou Tavernier is in. Hillsborough Street is the one crisscrossing going across to where I was born there in thing. There was a pipe right in the corner on the grammar school side. Remember that same area where there's grammar school. Later on was the boys' school, that same building, and then later on was the health center was there as well. Now it is the All Saints place, but it housed the grammar school, the Roseau Boys School, and then the health center. Now it's the All Saints. Okay.
So you get water from.
So there was a pipe there.
Right.
And to take the water, my job every afternoon was to go and carry water. My sister, her job, and my brother's job, they had to wash the plates. These two. And I was the smallest among them, so I would go and carry water. I tell you, I carry water. I carry good water. I used to do. That was our job, both in the morning and afternoon time, but morning, afternoon, after school. So we got water like that. We used the river for hygienic business purposes, like that as well. And you wanted to know again what? We used the old iron they call cow, and we used to iron. And then you have the goose where you put your little thing inside of the goose, your charcoal, the big goose, to iron, to press, as they call it, the bigger clothes, the harder clothes. Where the mothers would do that, okay, and sometimes the fathers. But we had the little iron called cow. That's what we used there, because we didn't have electricity in those days. We didn't have refrigerator in those days. Or ice cold thing depend on Miss Olive. That's why I used to go and buy almost everybody who needed ice there. The messenger was there. That's me. So we lived and we made it. They used to have noise inside. They don't think they would. Oh yes, they would make noise. Especially my John. They would have noise there. But we the children are not supposed to take care in the grown-ups thing. They always tell us, don't interfere when they grow up. And then we'll not stay long, not talking, probably 6 weeks after they start to talk. Probably never take that long. I remember that place. I remember the Christmas season used to be particularly nice because you could go in any one of the houses, pull the balloons, or take a pin, straight pin, and burst it and bout Christmas, boom, and the other people will come and somebody will say, boy, they come and so and so and so. So my brothers would go and do their own. And when my brothers know that they'd come and me and my little sister and they'd burst the balloons. So all that was supposed to be fun. There's something called Chapeau. They'd buy Chapeau at CB and they'd throw it and Chapeau, when people passing, they throw it and they jump up in the yard. Christmas was particularly nice. I remember that. Mm-hmm.
And so I want to know, in reference to in the longhouse, what was the kitchen setting like? What was the drawing room or the living room setting like? And the rooms?
The kitchen setting was in the same house. We were more fortunate in that our house was in the end of that longhouse. So we had an extra place. We actually built a kitchen. So our kitchen was separate and we had extra space out there. So we'd cook, would roast breadfruit and so on. All that was done outside the house. But the other people, as far as I know, they had their things. Probably their house was bigger than ours, I don't know. But they had their cooking done inside the house. We had a separate thing. You had to make do,
How many rooms?
Well, I told you it's not room. It's something they call the bike at the fence where you thing up there. We had the big bed separated from the small bed. You can't have big people in big bed so close to children, So you had to make a division there. And the rest in the drawing room. But the others didn't have as many as we had. The others, I tell you, 5 of them here, 7 of them here. But us, probably 10, So, so this is how we had to do the business. And the personal hygienic situation, Riverside. Mm-hmm. And they had a public toilet, by the way. That was used.
Where was it, public toilet?
That's what I'm going to tell you. You see, when you're going on that same bridge that goes out of town from Great George Street, right on the right side, there was a place by, I forgot the fellow's name, but it's from Wesley. And Fitzgerald had that place later on. So it was like a restaurant.
You're talking about where Curtis had that restaurant selling before the Eric's Bakery building? In the entrance of the bridge, on the eastern side of the bridge.
On the eastern side of the bridge, there was
Johnville.
Johnville. That's the name. That's the name I was looking for. Yes, that was where the toilet was. Exactly in that position. I don't know if you ever knew that.
Yes, I met it. I met as a boy growing up. I saw that before the Eric's Bakery depot came. That's where the toilet was.
That's where it was. Mm-hmm. That's where it was.
Mm-hmm.
But before you talk about the Eric's depot, there was an Eric's depot lower down, close to adjoining to Lakou Tavernier.
Mm-hmm.
Nice bread there, man. Mm-hmm.
No. Your daughter would like to know, Daddy, talk about where you slept, how the bedding was set up. Your daughter wants to know that.
Nicole?
How you know it's Nicole?
Or Natasha?
Nicole.
I would ask that question.
Nicole.
All I know.
Dave William tells you that he's watching.
Oh, Dave is watching. Okay, good. My former colleague, Forestry. So what happened is you'd make that bed and you'd go under the bedding. We would actually make bed under bed. So I forgot that part. I really forgot it. Thank you, Nicole. Abia. So you go under the bed and would sleep there. And let me tell you, when you see rain falling on that thing, it's hard for you to get up the following morning because boy, we used to sleep tight there because it was cozy. It means to see, and probably that's what Nicole is technically trying to bring up there. These were the times that if you were not that clean, I don't know how else to say it again, you'll have what they call bugs, bed bugs, or they call it penis.
Penis. Let's use the Lakou word. Penis. Bed bugs. That's the Englishman name.
That, I tell you, be what we call literally tortured with penis, man. I remember I had a little nephew there, boy. He had to wake us up every second. We had to put on the light. We got light after a while, electricity. So we stay up the whole night and kill bugs. So that used to plague poor people. That's all I could tell you. And so especially if children pee in there.
I was about to ask you if you and your family members were peeing a lot.
No.
So where
I never think.
So where the bed bugs came from?
I told you about my little nephew. my brother, the one in England, the first one who died, Edmund George, the little boy, was there. And that was where the pee. Once you start to pee, they'll come there. That's a good question you're asking me there. Because to me, if there is no such thing, I remember that guy is talking about, Labad, the father himself, not Labad, the son that died there, them talking about their father, their older father. He said that Carnival Day, the swells will take the bedding of their little brothers and things, smelling pee and they go and run in Carnival, put it on them in. I don't know what they used to do. So that was a bad time of the history there in those type of
So let me ask you, when your cousin would have pee, your nephew, pee in bed, would he shift you all into the wet part?
No, man, Mr. Don't know he pee. He's a little boy about 3 years old, man. So you know that I was about 6 years at the time, going 7 years, you know. You wouldn't know that. But that happened in all houses.
So but you're not far from the river. So who would go to the riverside to wash that bedding?
Not me, no. I can't remember going there, no. So I just can't remember. Probably my sister, probably my mother, probably my bigger brother.
Where you used to hang the bedding?
We would hang. Remember, I told you where we have the kitchen, where we had the kitchen. There's
extra space
going towards the sea. There, that's where we would.
Let me ask the general question now. In as much as there's a long house, people don't have space enough to put their clothes inside when they go to the river to wash. Would you all have seen lines and lines in the yard?
That is strange, eh? There were lines, but not lines and lines. Strange enough, because they had some big stones and they'd put their things to dry on the stones too. Mainly they would go to the riverside, wash their clothes, and they'll come back home when everything is dry. It wasn't so straightforward like now. You have to go to the river and that's it. Today's river day, and come home with your dry clothes because you don't have space there. You are thinking, my brother, you are imagining and thinking that is good. And because I never even thought of those things, but I know they used to happen. And my sister and I would go. I remember our auntie came from Wesley. Again, we people used to come there and catching crayfish for us. So we staying there the whole day. We bathing, we everything until our parents or auntie
until clothes dry.
Yes, and we go home. Yeah, that's it.
Put that in your white basin.
Yes.
You remember the white basins, right?
Yes.
Was it the aluminum or you had the...
No, it was...
enamel.
It was enamel, I think.
Enamel,
the one
the white
that
one.
bursts, the one that breaks and you do...
As we normally say, cahier.
Cahier. Oh, yes. Cahier.
That's the enamel.
Yes.
So you didn't use the aluminum?
No. I hardly saw it. But I'll tell you something.
So before that, would you know your mom purchased them by Nassif?
That was our main place, Nassif. I cannot think again. C.G. Philip had a lot of things, cloth and toys and stuff like that. So I bought my toys. And at Baron, I bought my guns there. But when it comes to hardware stuff, I think it's more Nassif. Eventually, of course, Yusuf Nassif, he's one of his son, the old man Nassif, son, where they now have Do It Center, a branch of it there, in Cock Street. That used to be a hardware.
That's Nassif hardware.
Nassif, yes.
Yeah, selling
so
hammers
now,
and
yes, it's now a hardware again.
yes, back again to a hardware.
Again, yes.
No, that time it was called J.E. Nassif.
J.E. Nassif was the other side
There was J.E. Nassif and the other one was Nassif.
Nassif.
Right.
So is Nassif that has where the hardware was Yusuf Nassif.
Right. Yeah.
And J.E. now, the other brother now, he had the supermarket where before he call him Chinatown, where they buy those things there. It's now Fresh Market.
Fresh Market.
Yeah, his son is running that.
I would also want to know, Christian, food is important.
Yes.
So we talk about sleep and so on. You had your cabin under your mother,
Yes.
big bed.
Yes.
All right. So and then the balance of the children would go and sleep in the drawing room.
In the drawing room.
Right. Before I go to the next question, how did you all get the cabin? How the cabin was gathered?
How it came up there?
Yeah, how it came about?
I suspect the cabin. Things like that children never paid attention to. But I suspect that cabin came from your old big brother's shirt when they finish their vests and old shit, you fix up and wash it nicely.
No crocus bags?
No. Well, yes, crocus bag had to go on the floor and then the cabin on the crocus bag. We had mattress, what do you call it again? The thing from the house, coconut there, fiber mattresses in those days. Dunlop mattress and those things, these are for rich people. Eventually you got Dunlop mattress.
So I was about to ask you, later on in life, after you graduated from cabin. You had the fiber mattress.
Yes.
The coconut toss and
that's a fact.
fiber
That's
and your mother would buy her cloth where?
Yeah.
Where should buy her cloth?
She'd buy the cloth, I think, at Nassif, because
at Nassif.
they had the same cloth which would put the thing you're following. Yes. You had to buy that cloth. It had this long max strips on them, mattress material, and then they do it. My mother was, as a Carib, I don't know any other human being that was more talented than that lady. She could sew. She sew hats. She used to make flowers. Me and my brother used to sell that. All our Christmas shopping monies there, we used to get. Our friends used to have money, what we had. And she'd make sweeties, she'd make sweet drinks, she'd make all kind of coconut cheese tablets. This lady was multi-talented.
Your granny?
No, my mother.
Your mother?
Granny. My grandmother was a vendor. She'd go in the old market and sell. I used to carry a lot for after a while because she had for a long one.
So your mother actually made the batteries.
She'd make everything. She'd make pants for me.
So you remember the long needle?
Yes.
And the kind of thread that you use.
She had that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
To do the.
Yes.
Because I think every mother, because I saw my mother herself did that. Every home had their own seamstress.
Yes.
So
yes.
I don't know. The mothers were forced to be seamstress.
Yes.
So my mother herself went and buy her singer machine, like maybe your mom did.
Yes.
Later on in life.
Yes, she had singer machine.
Right.
She had a Jones machine first.
Right.
And then she got the singer machine.
And then you found yourselves graduating with the fiber mattress.
Yes.
Now, when that happened, how many of you all slept on that fiber mattress?
It's more me and my brother Ellsworth. At that time, those fellas had gotten big and leave home,
Okay, all right. No, the reason why I'm asking that, I know no matter how you made the fiber mattress, all right, there's length and there's width.
And holes inside.
And holes in the middle.
Middle, where they sew it.
So there's length and there's width.
Yes.
So they expect you to sleep long, meaning
lengthwise.
Lengthwise. But you have so many children.
Yes.
that you'd have to sleep
Sometimes.
most times across.
Yes.
So that
yes.
is
Yes.
in the whiff way.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Yes.
And
Uh-huh.
if you pee
But, yeah.
on those and mark that is carrying a lot of penis.
Yes, yes, that's the problem. That's the problem. I remember talking to my granddaughter. My son, he's a Lux guy in Niger. He has 5 beautiful daughters. They are also intelligent. Was valedictorian, who got highest, who top in the CXC. No, they're all very intelligent. So one of them, I thought this one was going to be the lawyer, but anyway, she is a hardliner. She seemed to have liked to pee-pee. I don't know how to explain that. She was growing up. So I went inside there once with the others. And they remember that today. They were much younger.
Let me ask you the next question.
Yeah.
Most times it was said that when you like to pee-pee, you like to smoke. Meaning you like to suck your fingers.
Oh, no, not surprisingly, none of them did that. You want to know who do that? Whether she going to beat me up when
Nicole?
she beat me? How you know is she going to tell that? You know how I got her to stop doing that?
Go to the mic and say that.
I told her, Nicole, you have your best friend she was in the small school, St. Martin's School. I said, go and tell them that you sucking finger bigger like you. And Nicole stopped, she frightened, and she never suck a finger after that. That's hard to get. Just like her
Which
sister.
one she should suck, the thumb or 2 fingers?
I think she should suck the thumb, not 2 fingers, the thumb. And Natasha, the older sister, Natasha now used to work in Najiko, used to make her tea for every morning, but in her bobo. So I told her, it's high time you stop that bobo business. But Natasha still used to do the thing for her, so she taking the thing. So one day I say, today I come right to school. I come and talk to your best friend and the other. I go and come with your bobo and tell them, look what Nicole is drinking. She was a very sensitive person. She never drank in that again.
So
I had to threaten her to stop her.
And Nicole is laughing like joke now.
Yes.
Just hearing that.
Yeah.
So Nicole used to like her bobo. And if you like your bobo, another thing that let me tell you, people that's sucking fingers. All right? They like their bobo.
Yes.
And they like their cloth in their hand.
Yes. She used to have a pillow.
A pillow. Right. The end of the pillow.
Yes, the end of the pillow.
So those are the traits of people sucking finger.
Yes.
So you could know people that sucking finger, they
Yes.
feel warm by playing with the end of the pillow or
Yes.
getting your mother's dress.
Yes.
Lie down in between mother and daddy and playing your mother's dress.
Yes, yes.
Or get their own little cloth.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark, you cannot wash that cloth,
Yeah.
That cloth
No.
can't be washed.
No, Nicole. Nicole, boy. Nicole used to. That child is another thing I tell you to say. She used to leave her room where she stays every morning, right? But Natasha used to do the same thing from her cradle between me and her mother. And Nicole would just come and sleep behind there. Her mother used to really go back to her car. I say, leave her alone. Fathers usually very soft in those things. Let us say. But I used to get some good kick under my stomach. I remember that. Boy, I used to get good kicks.
Nicole used to give you kicks?
Yeah, because she come between 2 of us and she turn in now towards me. So either it's under my cot, under my stomach, the cot. But I don't know. You know,
Nicole said that she drank from her bottle till she was 7 to 8 years.
Around that time, I guess. She was already big going. She was in St. Martin's School.
I wonder what age she stopped sucking finger then.
No, she stopped before the bottle. But Natasha was the person that was encouraging Nicole to drink that thing. The more I tell them, stop that thing. And Natasha, her job was to make, that was her morning job then, to make the thing, the tea. Everybody had their job to do. Just like when I was growing up, I gave everybody their job.
Nicole said that is true. No, the question I want to ask you now, coming back to Lakou Tavernier, what kind of meals that you all used to have?
Food?
Yes.
Okay. I remember my mother, I used to say, Mama, those other fellas, now I got their mother home, they having nice food. But I guess it's how you're doing it. But she was, I think, the best on broth. Up to today, I can't really do broth like her. The only other person who can do broth was my wife. Like Mama, fish broth. Very, very good at that. So I remember broth. I remember soup. Any kind of soup. Dumpling must be in it. Fig. pumpkin sometimes, pumpkin not sometimes, beef most times, that sort of thing. Favorite was rice and lentils. We love peas, red beans. Those days I don't buy red beans at my home. I buy pink beans because red bean can be a bit dangerous, if it stays a little bit too long. So we use pink beans at home instead. So this was the thing. With the soup will come some macaroni. The big macaroni, not the little vermicelli thing. People used to do that for the children, the little ones, the little toddlers and so on. So that's the kind of thing. Soup, broth, my favorite. Rice and peas.
So let us look on a Sunday morning.
And pig snout.
Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sunday morning was chicken and red beans.
Oh, Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
Breakfast.
Breakfast was salad. What as you said that day, I was talking to my wife. This is beloved. She told me once, I said, Danny, tell me something. Is it me? When we were small, when your mother was doing the salad, you'd be walking in the yard, coming inside, you smelling the cucumber. She said, yes. I said the same thing to my mother. How come I not smelling that there now? I don't smell it again. You'd be coming and you're smelling the thing and your mouth start to water already because the salad, the lettuce, the cucumber, sometimes the carrot, the cabbage you put together. And I tell you, even just cucumber alone, you smell that nice. But as though I do, is it the type of seed they have these days? I don't know. And we didn't have this big cucumber they have now. We had this nice little slim cucumber. It was very nice. So that's what you had on a Sunday morning.
So what about in those days? When I was growing up, we called something called mastiff. And you have 10 cents bread and you have 5 cents bread.
Mastiff was in the 50s, and let me tell you about mastiff. They don't make it a so again. The mastiff was cream. It was cream. I don't know if it's what they used to put in it, whether it's lard and something else. But inside of it, 25 cents for mastiff. In those days, that was bread. That was bread. And what Eric's used to do now, I don't see that bread now. You didn't have to put table butter inside those rolls or the jacqueries. These things, you eat those things dry, and they were very nice. I remember that very well. Miss Olive had bread, the little bread. They had two little things put together. Halfpenny bread, two halfpenny bread come together would be a penny bread. Of course, you expect to see that now. You have to talk about the smallest bread is $1 something now. Mm-hmm.
People don't say penny anymore. People say 2 cents.
No, people don't even say 2 cents. It just doesn't exist.
That doesn't exist. No, you don't hear the word 2 cents.
No,
just now the word 25 cents will be gone.
I think so, I think so. I gave a couple at the drug addicts. Right? Our pastor said they call them paro. So a drug addict. And one of them throw 5 cents, if you give them a couple 5 cents pieces. And then you have the 25 cents. You give to the guys now. No, the lowest they want is $1. Mm-hmm. And $1 is plenty money. Don't forget the Carib cinema was 15 cents to go matinee. 10 cents during what you call anniversary. Mm-hmm. These things don't have any worth, so to speak, now. Mm-hmm. You should start from $5. And I heard the people at the market now brought up, starting from this weekend at least, I don't know if it's that, but my neighbor told me so, to 6 pence now. So you can go and get 5 cents cyber again, or 5 cents a pound of anything. I said 5 cents, $5 is $6 now.
No.
Mm-hmm.
During the weekdays, as a boy growing up,
mm-hmm.
You find that at the night time we drank a lot of bush tea and flower pop. What about you as a boy growing up?
I didn't like flower pop too much, but I used to drink it. What I liked was the cornmeal. And later on you get I'm trying to remember the name now. I just forget it. It was white. Very nice. I can't remember it.
Oats?
Not oats. Oats big, but that's a small.
Cereal? I'm talking about wheat, cream of wheat. Cream of wheat.
Cream of wheat.
Cream of wheat.
That was my favorite. Mm-hmm.
So cream of wheat has been there for that long time?
Cream of wheat wasn't there as early as oats and and especially cornmeal, But I find it came early enough.
Okay. No, as a boy growing up, the Catholic Church played an integral role in giving people food.
Yeah.
I think every week or every Friday or every other Friday. Would you remember that in those days? Because you're living close by in Roseau, so that would have been easy to get.
No, I never remember anybody getting food from the Catholic Church or any other church for that matter. Because the only place is called, going into the president's quarters, there in going down that street, Turkey Lane, there was a place called Emery School Hall or Emery Hall. They would go there. We would go there. They call us the poor people. Because I have to give you a quick note. In my mind, in Lakou Tavernier, we were not the poorest people. And I didn't even consider myself poor, by the way. And it's something that waked me up the other day to realize I was poor. I used to think people who would stay at Cow Tongue. I don't know if you know about Cow Tongue.
That's Windsor Park.
At the back of Windsor Park.
Where
the technical wing used to be grammar school behind there. Those people went there. And these are Cow Tongue people that went across to Baytown, somewhere by the riverside in Pottersville. So I considered them poor. And so when I remembered that there was this Methodist people that Mr. Roberts and the others always have tickets in their pocket to bring for my father to give to his children, me and my daughter, me and my sister and so on. And as I started to grow older, I said, but if I didn't consider myself poor, why did they used to give me those things to go to Fort Young on Christmas Eve, so Father Christmas will give us some stuff, or go and get milk. We had a thing called, was it Nutrichana? They had non-fat milk. I never liked that. But you'll go and you'll get things. These are the things they'll give you. And the children will go on the top of Constitution and let go their thing. As you show you, they didn't have so many vehicles in those days. And you see this little shining silver thing going down, but they were big enough. We used to go and get those things. And so it occurred to me, it had to have been poor people that were given those tickets, because they always had tickets for Mr. Samuel Christian's children. So that means we really were poor. But I never considered myself poor.
And now, most of us, we growing up, we knew what was called sweetened water. In your growing up, how much of that you took?
What water?
Sweetened water. Sugar water then.
Without lime?
Without lime.
No, I didn't take much of that. So probably we were not so poor then. No, boy. If that happened, it's probably me and Ezra were stealing some sugar and just filling the water, and we didn't get anything. But, yep, mother never gave us that. But, yes, I know that used to be done often.
So, can you tell me a little bit more of the bush teas that you would have drank in those early days?
Oh, well, we had, one I used to call, I was so small, I didn't know the name. And my mother was like, she still remember that very well. I used to ask all the time, Mama, you have marble tea, there's marble tea I want. It's a long while I get to know the name was basilic. It was so nice, I used to call it marble tea. So I love basilic. Yes, you have no problem with me drinking that. What other bush tea used to do? We never used to have so much
Simecotois?
Yes, Simecotois.
Lime bush?
Yes. Lime bush, I didn't like lime tea, but yes, we had lime bush. But you know what we more used to have at home? We used to have cocoa tea. Right now I can't stand it, and most people like cocoa tea. They think it's a traditional thing. Yes, I think it is. Why I don't like it, it has a lot of oil in it. It upsets me. But Ovaltine, Milo, that used to be my tea. Really. Going to secondary school, that was the tea I wanted.
No, in Lakou Tavernier, an incident happened in 1964.
Yes.
A fire on the 17th of February, 1964. What can you tell us about that?
Well, as I think of that, the children used to gather, we used to meet. We meet anywhere, at any house. And we used to talk about if there's a fire. Now, you have to understand, when we grew up, when we were younger, growing up from 3 years old, the mothers used to take turn in teaching us ABC, the alphabet, etc., and how to check. So I remember we used to have some nice green seats, and say about 9 of us, and Ma John would come and teach us, and then my mother would take over, and then Ma Alfia. We didn't like Ma Alfia. She used to like to beat us a lot with a cocoa thing. I had problems with the letter V and the letter T. I seem to remember that. So we were a closely knitted group of people in that yard. So as we grow older, we decided, because where we are living now, no wall house, that was out of the question. That never entered our mind. We think the normal thing was to have wooden houses. So we realized, because the houses are so close, if there's a fire, it could be very disastrous. We start to get older, we start to think. So we were wondering how we're going to escape. So we look at a place they call Ma Ivy, which was next to Ma Olive. So there was a barricade between, a serious fence there with galvanized. So we'd throw that down and jump and run there, come out like Clancy Winston in Upper Lane, or come out a bit lower down by Manori's shop inside there somewhere. So we should discuss that. I remember John Luiso. So that was a point of discussion now and then when we meet in the night. Because there used to be fire at ACS, they had a long fire, Batter Shoe Store, wherever it go, fire, cooperative, the bank, he go, they die, that is J.B. Charles, Eugenia Charles' father, bank, you know. So we said, let us think of ourselves now. So after I left there, we went to the 62nd Street I told you there, and we started to live there. So at the time of the fire, we had left the place already. Though my father was renting that same place to a lady, whose name I'll not call, and she had to go and pay her a liquor rent, what I used to do. So we were living up there, and somehow we saw that red flames. So we get to know but that looking like where we were. So it's the morning, we're sleeping. I remember I just entered SMA, I think, there. I had a year there already. And so we were concerned. Who was there? What happened? Was there a disaster and anything? And we heard nobody had died. That was the most important thing for us. I didn't hear of any child at that time who almost got burnt inside their life. Or probably I did and I forgot. But I get to know how the fire started. If Zudi in his place, with all the wires he had, with this technical thing he was doing, fixing up people's stuff. So a lot of valuables got burnt inside there, I remember. And we were very sad, very, very sad, because we used to live there, my sister, myself, my mother, and everybody else, my aunties, and to see that thing happened. That was sad, but we were not there at the time. We had just moved out. We had moved out about a year before that thing happened. But then you have something interesting to say on that matter, because you were in there as a baby. And I was so shocked to hear that you probably would not be there talking to me today. Tell us now.
Well, sometimes I don't
you get emotional.
I don't always like to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I just have to say thank God I'm alive.
Yes.
And that huge fire on the 17th of February.
Yeah, but that is history.
I happen to have been the child that some persons thought had gone.
Gone already.
Yeah, because it's a huge fire. But thank God for my mom's sister boyfriend, Flashy.
Yeah.
And Flashy was able to
run
to run and hear me crying underneath a rebel of woods.
Okay.
And I was able to take me out and save me.
Yes.
Someone wants to speak to us quickly on the phone. Let's see what that person has to say quickly. Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening, Brother Cecil. How are you?
Good evening, Salufa.
And good evening to the gentleman with you.
Mr. Christian.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Cecil, every Sunday, I normally listen to the program. And sometimes I'm saying, but Cecil, maybe 90 years, man. Because you seem to have a fantastic memory, Cecil.
Yeah.
It's your program, but I just wanted to draw to the attention of your guests there was one thing she forgot when it came to the food, and I'm going to say one about myself. Sir, you forget to mention one thing that was important, and it is called Toloma. When they used to give us Toloma to drink. Because even today, as old as I am now, even today, anytime I have bad stomach, I make a cup of Toloma. When I drink it, the diarrhea stops. I'm just saying the fact. Toloma is a very good food. And most of us, as you were talking about porridge and cream of wheat, most of us, a lot of us raised on Toloma, I can tell you that. The second thing I want to say is, as I listened to the lady about sucking finger, I used to suck finger too, until my finger turned blue. 2 fingers. But that's how I sucked. When my grandmother died, they took my finger, they put it in her mouth, and they tell me, so more me, I let you say, get more. Because I died, and I sucked. Thank you.
Thank you. I like that.
Explain to Sir Luther that my voice may be very light. I'm not a woman. I'm very much a man. Keep referring to me as a she. Okay. Thank you for that, Mr. Luther. You're right. Toloma was used especially for the growing up ones, the younger ones, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and so on.
So as I was saying, that I'm very fortunate. I'm very happy that the great God created that miracle. Allow my auntie, he's now
boyfriend.
Dead, boyfriend Flash.
Yes.
You know, he was a Calypsonian himself.
Yes.
Who came and he heard me crying. My mom and my adopted father were all just on the other side of the area.
Yes.
And so when that happened,
yes,
you know, my mom came bawling, her child. And that's when he actually went in. Because my aunt actually was living in the same long house, where my mother herself was living in the same long house on that street, you know. So I was told so by people that were present, and more so by my cousin who's much bigger than I am, you know. So
yes.
Yeah, and I mentioned it to my mom because my mom never really mentioned it to me, and she then confirmed that yes, that did happen, you know. Yeah.
Not a nice thing to tell a child.
No, and I understand. I understand. Not that I would ask any question, but I did understand, you know. So yes, so here it is that you have now moved from Lakou Tavernier now into 64 Old Street.
62
Old Street. What's the difference between 62 Old Street and Lakou Tavernier?
Yes, it's very different because we now had a big house, and we had something they call an attic. You know, this extra piece you have on top of an upstairs, the attic. So when you go in the upstairs house, you can go up again into the attic. There's another name we used to call, I don't quite remember now. And that's where that's where we used to live, me and my brother and some of the guys who were boarding there at the time. And of course, we had other rooms downstairs and the girls who they were living and so on. So that was a place. It was different, you know, on your own, by yourself, a unit. And your closest neighbor was another house, the Casimir's house, towards going down south side of Old Street.
That's Mr. Casimir who had the business.
No, not that Casimir.
Okay, not that.
There was that Casimir, the business. This one was Casimir. He used to teach, my father said, in the Rosso Boys School himself. Yeah. So he was the one who used to, only when you go in for the people who used to live in Lakou Tavernier, it was their connection. That's why I used to bring my $4. Yes, it was quite a difference. We know we're very much independent in the sense of the word that there was a bathroom there, both upstairs and downstairs. We had bathrooms. The girls were upstairs, boys were downstairs, and so on. And we had a very big kitchen downstairs. So, yes, it was a very different scenario there. Very, very different.
No, you have light.
Yeah, the electricity.
You have electricity now. Did you have running water?
Of course.
You had running water.
Wow. And you had running water all about.
Wow. So that was so much better in 64.
62.
62. Just
Yeah.
imagine
Yes.
you had running water, lights at that time.
Yes.
There's someone is calling on the line. Let's see what
Yes,
this has to
yes,
say.
yeah,
Good evening to you,
what's
caller. Good evening, caller.
Yes, hi. Cecil, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly.
Yes, hi. Good evening, Mr. Christian.
Good evening. Good evening, my dear.
Yes, I want to commend you for such a photographic memory that you have. Oh my goodness, you bring me way back to my grandmother's time.
Okay.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yes.
All right, you all have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you very
too.
much.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There's just, let me just say something quickly as you're going on with your question, asking. There are two areas I would like us to leave there with what we talk about the management of the hygienic aspect of our city as compared to here now, how it was. Number one. Number two, what used to happen on the Roseau River, to give you an idea how deep the Roseau River was in those days. And we'll bring some forestry, because I was asked that question many times, whether the Roseau River can come back to how it was, and tell them my views, and I think it can.
Yes.
Okay,
so
go
someone
on.
wanted to find out if the Casimir that you spoke about was the one with CBs.
No,
No. Right.
not the CB's one.
Okay. Was it
No,
the
no.
offer that actually sold newspapers?
Somebody sold newspapers. Casimir. No, that Casimir had a daughter who was going to convent, and she died at one of the biggest funerals we ever had in those days. I just going to school. We had, I remember one name of Elsa, about my age group. I don't know how else to explain, describe, and he was a teacher.
All right. Teresa Friggy said that Billy Lennox Xavier's sister Estine says hello.
Tin.
Yeah, well,
Tin.
they give me the first and full name.
Yes,
Tin.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Says
Tin Peltier, probably.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Thanks.
No. Let's go back to the telephone quickly. Good evening to
Yes.
you, caller.
Mr. Casimir was a writer, and he was the agent of Marcus Garvey in the time of Garvey in the 20s. That's the Casimir talking about.
What do you say?
Right now, the place abolished, so they
That's
can
true.
sit up.
That's true.
That's the
It's a
talking about. He was a writer.
derelict building now. It's kind of...
Is it the building where where Mr. Ron Green lived?
No.
No, lower down on the right-hand side.
It is opposite where the Spanish people have that thing there where the big river Masami.
Oh, okay. All right. It's right where Signoret was living.
No, man.
You must see where they're telling me Masami, the end of River Street.
River Street.
Opposite that street. They have a little shop.
Is it hold on. Is it where it's adjoining Hanover, Old Street?
No, sir.
And Old Street and River Street?
No, that was where I used to live.
In the end of Old Street and River Street there, that is where at the upstairs of the veranda, the other house.
So you're talking about where Balthazar?
No, sir.
No. Balthazar was on the other side there, where these motorbikes are. Somewhere
Right,
there.
yeah, that's what I
I'll
was
tell
talking.
you something. Listen to me.
Yes, sir.
You see where Casimir had the shop there? Casimir had the shop, Chez Chapeau. Opposite, on it by Miss Evie. Where she sell them rice and bananas there.
Yeah, Miss Evis, ancient.
That's why I know the place.
Okay then. All right then. Thanks. I'm not getting it at all.
No.
Yeah.
But once you see you coming down River Street and you turn left, Masami is opposite this where I used to live, and you continue, there's a house that is neglected there, no more. Close to where I used to live, 62nd Street. Once the house in the corner between River Street and Old Street, that's where I used to live. So the next house going south on the left side, that is where Casimir used to have his place.
Okay.
Just to be a greenhouse.
Okay. Good evening to you, caller.
Mr. Casimir is Ralph Casimir. He had a daughter who died. Her name was Matilda. He had a daughter named Elsa. He had a daughter named Octavia. And that's the Mr. Casimir, Ralph Casimir. His daughter Matilda died when she was Mr. Casimir.
Don't listen to the radio. Let's talk. You listen to the radio.
Oh, it's repeating. Okay.
You're listening to the radio, caller. Let's continue. Let's speak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, caller, but
yes.
Good evening to you, caller.
That's the correct name, Ralph Casimir. That is the correct name.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Ralph Casimir.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So yes, Mr. Christian.
Yes.
So here it is now. You are on 62
Old Street.
Better living condition.
Much better.
Condition. 2 rooms, 3 rooms.
Let me see. 1, 2, 3. It was a big house, but 4 rooms.
By that time, your dad is still a security officer.
Yes. But he used to work for Domlet. That was his job. Being a security for the facility they had going down next to the, what they call the cold storage, where the ice used to be made, the big blocks. Next to there.
No. I want us a bit to just jump across to Cowtown. Because you made mention of Cowtown, and a number of people are asking about Cowtown.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit, because I know that the government would have purchased that land to build the Dominica Grammar School, because all that was Cowtown. All right? And I know also that many of the people who reside in Cowtown actually went and live in Pottersville and Foncoley. Quite a lot of them. Now, tell us a little bit more about Cowtown.
Well, there isn't anything all that much. The thing is, there used to be cows around there, I suppose, and people living there. When we'd go under power to bathe on a Sunday, all the guys around that time, all of us were big enough, we were going to secondary school, who go to grammar school, go to SME, and would pass there as a shortcut. And practically passing the people's yard, because they used to live there. They had those wrong type of thing on top of a drum and galvanized. That's how their house was made of those materials, probably wood, no doubt. And you would walk through there and go there, and there were cows there, and there were people there. That's why it gets its name Cowtown.
So you're saying to me that in that period. People living in Cowtown. That you remember what year would that have been? In the 60s?
Early
60s.
Probably late 50s, early 60s.
Late 50s into the 60s. So you're saying that people literally would have lived among cows?
That's what I'm saying. After a while, the cows get to be less,
Yeah, and you're saying also that a lot of these people built their houses with galvanized.
Yeah. I don't know if I should use the word build. I guess that is where, people, they were squatters. You understand? So you have people who squat, just the same way you had to settle them down Baytown there in Pottersville. They squat. Now look at Foncoley, you just mentioned. It's an old squatted area. That's why you don't have roads going run to people's homes. It's just like Kings Hill. These were irregular situation. I happened to sit on one of the committees supervising Kings Hill, where you had to regularize a lot of things, get the surveyors to survey and say that's your portion of land, so on. The same thing at Foncoley, the same kind of thing. And after a while, so that's why I tell people, Foncoley, it's an old government squatted area. Look at Yampis, look at what's the other thing? Tarish Street. These people there.
Gutter.
That's the same process, the same protocol. You go there, you squat, and then eventually you ask government to sell the land to you. So it wasn't a regular formal thing where, like, say, Canefield housing scheme or Bath Estate housing scheme. These were real squatted areas, So squatters live there. That's why the road's so narrow and you have problems, people parking their vehicles on the road, narrowing more, a narrow road get even narrower, and so on. So that is one of the ills on the spin-off of squatting. So that's how it was at the Cowtown situation, except that no road was going there. You just walk the tracks and so on.
Let me hear the person has to say on the telephone. Good evening to you. Caller, you're live. Caller, you're live. I'm sorry. Good evening to you, caller.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I want to agree with the gentleman because my uncle who had cows and pigs in that area. It's not like what he said. It was an area where people kept animals at the beginning. There used to be the sheds, and eventually people who did not have anywhere to stay came and squatted. Right next to Cowtown, if he remembers, there was a rubbish ship. That was the rubbish ship that was there. Because I, as a boy, I used to go there and go behind big ass. So I know. Yeah, so all what he said about Cowtown is true. It wasn't really a residential. People had animals. And as time went on, all the people who didn't have place to stay, they squatted. So she's sorry, not she. Sorry, sir. He is quite correct. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's a nice story to really build from, to make people know where Dominica, well, more so the tongue of Rose at that time was like, you know.
Yes.
You had people like Deveril himself. You remember Deveril?
So he used to produce ice himself. And I think he used to buy it from the same cold storage area, and the big blocks, and sell it, retail it to people like you, me, going for some ice. Remember, we didn't have refrigerators in those days. But there's something else, if you permit me.
As you're saying that, before you go to because we have to go to these health matters and so on.
Yes, sir. I would like us.
Tell us a little bit about the ice, the ice factory, because there are a lot of people who may not know that where the DBMC building is,
coming
adjacent,
up a bit there now.
Adjacent to the
yes,
yeah.
They have an agricultural complex there right now. I actually attend meetings every other Thursday, and they go inside. I think Dexter had something inside there, receiving sales of peppers, etc. There was literally where I grew up at a certain time. That was CDC owned that land, where even with I won't talk about dump track, I won't talk about 8 Bank, but let's skip to that area there where the cold storage would be. There was also a citrus plant there in the days where we used to produce grapefruit.
We call it a packing shed.
Packing shed. And in those days, man, I used to drink raw grapefruit, those bottles of grapefruit. I used to get the rejects and squeeze the juice there. Nice juice. So in there had this cold storage where they made the big ice. You can see the fellas harvesting and so on, and knew the people inside there. So those people would have their chicken, people like Brisbane and all over, and it's in there. I guess they would pay for storage space because they didn't have the facility in those days. So I'm talking about the 60s now. So they'd put in there and the ice, people like the very come by ice and go. People up from the country area as far as Wesley, Calibishi, they come and get their ice. They saw something called sawdust to keep the ice, and they would put the ice in the ice cream, the manual ice cream container, and make ice cream. So that played a big part because that is where all chicken and everything into the island was stored in there. That big place.
And strange, although it took you about more than an hour to get to the country area in the northeast of Dominica, when you would buy this block of ice with sawdust, it would last.
It would last in bags. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you're right.
No, there are 2 points that you wanted to make before we go forward, in reference to Solomon and Tongboard. It was called Tongboard.
You have a good memory too, man.
No, we're talking about City Council. It was
City Council.
It was nothing but City Council. It was Roso R Tong RTC RTC Roso Tong Council.
They had what they call some trucks, and I can see them trucks now. They push up their things, and
throw
they throw their rubbish there and so on, and 2 men walking behind them. and they would take care of the business there of our
You want, Billy, you want to hear my view?
Yes.
I think these trucks were better trucks than not what we have now.
I will never disagree. So, the reason I want to talk just a little bit about Solomon and the guys, they played a part in this country. These guys should have been called heroes. And I'll tell you about two other heroes I have in my heart. And these guys, I told you, literally terrorized the city of Roseau. They would go into...
It wasn't the city of Roseau. It was the tongue of Roseau. Let's not get confused.
No, we're not getting confused.
Because the tongue of Roseau wasn't new tongue.
Because that's what it is. Let's leave it as tongue.
Yes, let's leave it as tongue.
It is a city. And they would come and they would go. And the people, and that is the thing about the people in those days. Remember I told you, respect was key. I grew up during that time. My father was a martinet. He was very strict and come to that. So I didn't look about, very busy, you know. For some reason, I just found myself, nobody appointed me doing that work. And if we see Solomon coming, if it's like a baton, he had this baton, serious. And I told you the other day, I never saw Solomon smile. From the time I grew up, I never saw that man smile to see you feel, good Solomon smile to you. And he and Martin, but let's focus on him. He was the senior man. And I see this man come out from the yard by Buck and them on the other side where Jolly Pharmacy is here or somewhere. And I would just take off inside. I'd be the other big step. Little boy in holidays time, sit down there probably eating mangoes. And I'd fly inside there and I'd be screaming out, tongue boat coming, the top of my voice, man. And people would dash for the rubbish. People have things a little bit disorderly and fix up because Solomon didn't used to joke. And when he come inside there, it's serious. You can't tell them, I just, sorry, I forget to take out. No. Solomon was serious. He'll charge you. And he came inside there. And he used to come in there, man, and people take whatever they have that shouldn't be there. And you can imagine a lot of things that shouldn't be there. And I remember a neighbor who had fowls, and she had this little dove. And the troublesome guy, actually, Twinkle was making noise. He was from, he was somewhere, he was a Frenchman. He went and he would go to he called it the Roseau Town Council, and report that this lady has a thing. And as far as he's concerned, the place is smelling. I told you she's a very neat and clean person, but he was a troublesome guy. And I remember they made the lady and the husband, they had to get an idea how to get rid of the clean, because they always clean in their fall cage. I see they were clean people. So they had to do something like a soak away system. And they would go, they even concreted these things. So you wonder, how is that a soak away? But it was a soak away that was not soaking away then, so to speak. And they would take the little condensed tin, empty thing, hold it by the same thing, because they use the tin cutter, and not all off, but so you can hold it as a support, and take the water from there, pour it into a bucket, and go into the tongue, and throw in the gutter, close to the pipe there. They had the pipe there, they wash that there one time, but go somewhere else and throw it in the gutter, and the gutter will take it down, and you get the water, and you come and you throw the water in that same place so that you rush out everything. All I can tell you is those two men so terrorized the people inside there. I used the word terrorized, but what I mean, they kept the city clean, two of them. As far as I'm concerned, when I think of those guys, they were heroes. They kept that place clean, lago all about. And now and then, especially just for the carnival time on a Sunday night, they would take the hose, the fire brigade would come there, but those guys supervising that there. And they would hose down the whole of Roseau. And we children there, and they would say, children, go to school. And we say, no. And boy, they'd put that hose on us and would take off, you know. Of course, you have to give your mother an account where you were. But we had that every year. And that place was cleaned. We had ladies with broom, some kind of special broom. And they'd keep the gutters clean. They would put the rubbish.
I wish someone would tell us the name of that special
broom.
I mean, they used to get that I don't know if some soufrier or somewhere, you know, with their long stick in that, man.
Yes.
And I'm seeing the ladies with their waist tied.
They were so tight. And then the fellas would come with their truck and take that thing with their shovel and get rid. The place was clean. That's the only thing. That's my slogan. That's my thing. Because the place was kept clean by those women and those tongue-boat fellas, and the people respected them, don't care how vexed they were, and the whole place was clean. I remember sometimes, don't was in the 80s, Lakou was smelling a lot. I mean, there's sometimes, you know, if the water is stagnant. But they had a way of keeping that city clean. And don't ask me how, but they used to do it, and people obeyed them. I personally was afraid of policemen.
Someone told me it was tambourine branches that they were using.
It could be that too. It could be that too. As you're saying that, I seem to remember that too. So they kept the place clean. People were terrified of the tongue birds.
But as you're saying that, two things came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
One was when Central Water Authority was going to take water and the pipes in Tong. You remember the
big
pipes?
bell.
Yeah. Solomon have a big bell, peeling.
Santopi and another guy, a tall one, Jumin. They would come with the thing and they say, oye. At 2:30 this afternoon, they'll be taking water. So you'll run with your buckets. Because we didn't have pipes at our home. We had to run in the street, collect our water, fill up all our containers. So by that time, no water again, probably till the following day, whatever it is. And that's how they used to do it. And they say, God save the Queen.
So, no, repeat what the guys and them were saying when they rang the bell.
I don't know, the word oye is Spanish.
Yes.
I say, oye. And they would give their notification, their announcement immediately. And whatever it is they want to announce.
And in those days, Central Water Authority, that's how it used to be called. CWA. Was where the gate, exactly where the gate of the stadium on Bath Road.
Yes.
Next to Digicel building.
But then it was somewhere else before there. In those days it was somewhere else. But yes, there was also
where was it?
I trying to remember. I think I just feel it was somewhere in High Street. But anyway.
No, someone says to me also, outside the tambourine branches, it was called Ballier Savan.
That too.
It was called Ballier Savan.
Yeah, especially by the country people. Yes, Ballier Savan. Yes, yeah. That.
So the tongue crier would say, oye. And let me see if that person is going to help us with that. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening, caller.
Yo. Let me tell you now. It's a special tree that is growing, and my neighbors won't get that alone is self from too.
Now let me ask you.
Let me ask you. See where the tongue from to is here?
Yes.
It used to be under the old post office by where the tourist board there. That's where it used to be first. Before it went down by the Barracon. Because the Barracon was a fort. You did?
Yes.
So when they transferred the court by library, then tongue comes from down there. You did? Philip Allen used to work here and some other fellows there. That's where tongue comes to work.
All right, thanks.
So let me tell you now,
yes.
On the tongue. I not on the tongue, on the cow tongue. After they demolished, they take out the rubbish and put it in the jail bush. So there was flat, so people started to invade there. But when the rubbish there, nobody was living there. Only one person was living there. It's Craig Winston and Cousin Winston's father. They were making block of government for public works. They were not blocks now, and culverts. You see? Winston's father, he had, what do you say about the Galvinat house? He was the only person that had the Galvinat house there. He used to live there. But used to be culvert for government, so he had to live there. Okay?
All right, thank you.
And the houses that was in the tongue, they put it focus, all of them. The tongue belonged by the old self.
Okay. Thanks. Oye.
Like
water will be closed at 10 a.m.
tomorrow morning.
And Solomon passing as did they going.
Yes. Yes, Solomon wasn't joking.
Yeah, with his big bell.
Yes.
And
Solomon had this little...
you can give
no,
us,
no,
you
it's
can
not
give us
Solomon that used to do that.
He's a very tall guy.
It's Casimir, it's Jermaine, the tall fella.
Jermaine used to do that.
Yeah.
But,
and then a short one they call Santopi or something like that. I can't remember his name.
No, how was Solomon dressed? I can remember.
Solomon was all in khaki. And he had a blue cock's hat. They call it, how you call it, helmet? I don't know how you...
No, it wasn't a helmet. It
wasn't a helmet in the sense.
It's a...
But the name of the place, I'm sure people out there remember the name. Of course I knew the name. I forgot. That's the hard hat. And he had that in khaki as well. He had a little baton. He's saying the same way the sergeant... station sergeants have, the policemen, their baton, so on, and the inspectors too. I want someone to help us if the name of the hat, because I think in the old days too, I think the chief of police would have worn a hat similar to that, if memory serves me right. The chief of police? No, the chief of police had a different hat. His hat was like those army guys, the English army guys. I remember this large hat and had a point on top. You're talking about on Empire Day, Celebration Days. Right. Yeah. Right. Oh, yes, they had that kind of hat, but it was white. Yes, but it's the same type of hat. So someone says that Solomon was dressed in khaki. And his safari hat. Khaki. How you call it? The safari hat. True, no? That's what the person said, safari people use that hat. Yeah. That's what the person said. But I don't know if that's the name. But yes, the safari people had that too. Yeah. No, the other thing in terms of tongue board, they would pass with their bell when someone died. Remember that? When someone died, those days they didn't have death announcement like we have now. I imagine they would do that. Yeah, because they had nothing before WIBS Dominica, we know Island Broadcasting Service. Right. They didn't have any other thing, And so even if the pipe burned water, he was very, very, very strict about it. Yeah, you couldn't just do anything in the pipe, no? Like going and bathe under a pipe naked. So that's not joking, eh? Yeah. Even if you didn't have pipe burn water at your home, you were able to carry your water and bathe at home. Exactly. I'm seeing no nudity all about the place. In those days, Solomon would not have allowed that. No, they had no order. No, that couldn't have happened. Though the second part you were trying to say now is going up to Coptal. The same guy's name I call Augustus Collier, Alvin Knight, Gifford Sandy, myself. I can't remember Whipple White was there. We used to go up there during the holidays. We were still going to school, and we had our tubes. So we'd go tubing up there. We never called it name tubing, but we'd have a tube. I used to put how many pants on them because your backside would bruise, you call it guiji, on the stone and will come. We used to send our tube on the river at Coptal, that bridge going there. When you reach up Louisville and you're going as if you're going to Mount Prosper or in that area, Wharton Weaven. So that bridge would stay there on top, the piece of road going down there, and jump in the river. That's how deep the water was. On top, the road. No, you couldn't do that. No, you break your spine, you break your leg. And we would take this tube going down, all of us at the same time, going down there. I think Maurice Burton too, my friend. And we're going down the tube. And while we're going on the tube, mangoes passing us. Just grab a mango, bite it, throw it. Grab another one, bite it, throw it. And then you'd have those dry coconut passing you there. In those days, never worry about that. And we'd go down, and every one of us would go down, as they used to call that, when the chim will hold you down on the water and turn you up and down, and you get surface, you rush to get your tube. We call those areas, depending on who went down there, the Alvin Knight one, the Sandy one, the Billy one, depending on where you go. So when we used to discuss things, we'd say that was before you meet Billy Fall or something like that. And we'd end up at the Bushy Way, which is the river mouth. And I used to live 6 Old Street. I just used to walk across to my home sometimes and go back for my clothes in the evening time. Night time, me and the guys would go back. So imagine going on a tube from right up there now, jumping from the top and going down there. If mangoes following you. And remember the trees that were along on both banks made a sort of how could you say it? Those trees cast shadows to the extent that evaporation by the sun was not rapid because those trees would intercept the sun rays. So that's why the river was deeper. That is why we could do what we were doing. But over the years, we have seen a number of settlements. Let us start off with, how are we going to start? We're going to start off with Emsall, a serious settlement there. Then there is the Bath Estate area too. Then there is the Silver Lake City. They used to call Fly City, but we've done away with this disturbing name. And we're going up, Focani, all those areas, Trafalgar, going up to Loda. So what these people have done over the years, not deliberately, but it's just all part of settlement, of colonization. People will cut trees. Now those trees that have been cut along the riverbank has allowed, and this is the forestry professional talking now, it would release and expose the water. And whenever you go, I said, I can't explain the physics involved, but you would say if there is a tree there should be less water because the tree is using the water, taking out the water. But no, when you take off the trees, the water goes down, mainly because of the evaporation, which is accelerated there. So that over the years, because of habitation, because people colonize those places, you find that all along the side, they don't have this mango trees or whatever trees that used to be there, sheltering the evaporation. You find that the water went down. We used to bathe, my father took me to a place they call Sikwi, that is just in front of the stadium there. And
Seabreeze apartment.
Seabreeze apartment?
Yes.
Oh, you mean the around there?
Yes.
Sikwi just a little lower down.
Yes, right.
The big men used to go there and bathe. And so I went there because I was with my father. But the other thing is this I worthwhile saying. We growing up, somebody might say it might happen in every generation. I don't agree. In those days, we little boys were rude, yeah? Even if they were not showing it like now. They want to know, they were curious. Probably I wouldn't say rude, but curious. These women bathed with their panty alone, no brassiere. And nobody heckled them, nobody worried about them. I never really observed that. To me, all those women were like my mother. That's how I look at it. I don't think a woman can bathe so again, no? Right now. Do you think so, Cecil?
Nope.
And those people used to bathe coming down, all close to the Riverside apartment. Like that. That's how they did. Mm-hmm. But these were mothers, yeah? And even younger girls in their 18 might behave like that. And they were not observed by men unless they were sick people. And I'm saying to myself, but you think a woman could go and behave like that, no? Mm-hmm. And that was a good thing about the days, in those days. Men used to behave naked. The big men I say is up at Sikwi. Those men never behave with clothes. They never know, they call him bath suit or bath pants, you know? And we get there. The main place we used to go take a dive is on the Power. And there's a place called Champagne, which was high up. Go up on a stone and thing up there. But we had water, healthy, fast-moving water, deep enough. So we used to go there as though that was this. On the Power was like a pool itself. I don't think we have that now because the water has, the depth has really disappeared now because of the evaporation, I tell you, the removal of trees. And I was telling you that if you look at anything to increase it, you'd go where the source is and start to boost up the source. We don't need any artificial regeneration in Dominica because of our land is so fertile. They will grow up. But you can speed up the reaction taking place. We actually put that into a project once in St. Lucia. It was a group of us from Dominica were there. And then I presented that to them. And I will not talk about the other two components. Let's talk about this component alone for the time being. And there, I said, if you take water from a container and pour it into the basket. The basket will not hold the water necessarily. The basket has holes, so the water will disappear. So why would you say you only want to protect, to revitalize the source? Don't you know below has to be revitalized too? So if we want to increase the water now, that is now going, the volume of water, you have to start planting trees from the river mouth on both sides. Go up where you can plant trees and get it back to the 50s and the 40s.
I'm sure I'm going to come back to this because I like what you said, because I want to relate how you became a forest officer,
forester,
or forester. Thank you. The reason why from your as a boy growing up, why? No, before we go into that, I need to know about your father in Botanic Gardens, in Boyd's Avenue, the things that he used to do. Because you told me sometime that he was a carpenter.
No, he never was a carpenter. My father was, I told you, a watchman, right?
Yes, a watchman.
Sexton,
Yeah.
different things.
Yes,
He was actually a cobbler, very good one. I'm the only one that haven't got talent like them, you know. Mother was so very good. But my father learned agriculture in the Botanic Gardens as a young boy. And he worked there. And a lot of those people, the old timers, I don't know if Yankee or before Yankee would know him, but I told you a story, a little incident that took place. There's a guy, Heskip Ito. I used to be supervised at one time. His father, that is Tronada's father then, they call him Bosi. A lot of people know him as Bosi, but he's really Ito, Mr. Ito. And I used to patronize them. They used to plant lettuce. And the type of lettuce I used to plant was mignonette. That species, I love it. It's like cabbagey. It's all folded up. So I used to go there and buy it from his wife. So I met him there, that is the husband, Bosi, a couple times. But every time I go there, I had a funny sensation which I could not explain. I just couldn't explain it. But every time I go in the yard, I was looking at the beds. They call them the lettuce beds, I mean. And I used to just watch it and feel funny about that, because that was my father's bed. That was the bed he used to make. And I watered the thing. I used to go there. My other brother watered the thing for him. I used to dig, fuck up the hole. The little boy, the fuck very heavy for me, but I used to do that. And he used to give me certain beds for him to take care of. So all the money we sell there on that bed comes to me. I used to hide that. So when I went in there one day, after many visits buying lettuce, and I meeting Bosi at the time, his wife not there that time, he said, Mr. Christian, he knows me, I used to work Forestry, you know, his son was working there. He said, I said, yes, sir. He said, you know who taught me agriculture? I said, no, sir. And I just know something interesting is going to come up there. And I'm in the midst of those beds, and the beds are black, charcoal-like. He tell me, you know Samuel Christian? And that's when I froze. I said, well, that's my father. He tell me, Sambo taught me. I said, Mr. Ito, you have no idea. Every time I come here, I feel a funny thing, because this is my father, as though my father's spirit right there. Every time I come here, I never said anything. He said, oh, so Sambo was your father? Then he said, oh, Christian. I said, yes, this is him, Christian. It's my father. He was my father. And so he told me that Sam was the one who taught me. He used to be a young guy working in the Botanic Gardens, in the agricultural division. And boy, I felt happy. I felt so sweet, so good. At least somebody. There's a friend of mine, Leroy Burton, I don't mind telling his name. And he came one day. He used to live just in the front of Lakou Avenue. And he asked me, questioned me, because I am working in Forestry. And so he tell me, has anybody mentioned my father's name? His father's name was what? Probably Ernest Burton or so on. I wish I'd listened to it, because he looked so disappointed because nobody remembered his father. And his father used to work there. His father used to be in charge of Cocoa Center. I remember that. And here is my father's name was mentioned. So I wish I had something about him. So I know how it is to hear your father. And my father and I are very close. Oh, he loved me and I loved him. And so you have that situation where you want to hear somebody say something good about your father or mother, and that happened. But that happened with me. And though I knew he learned, but I didn't know to what extent he learned agriculture, except that I used to call his fingers golden fingers. It's amazing. Right at CDC there, this man used to produce cauliflower. In those days, cauliflower is a thing you hear about. You see, only rich people will have cauliflower at their home. But he used to plant, and he used to cultivate right there, cauliflower, wherever he wanted to. So I know he was gifted in that area, agriculture. So I decided probably it could have been a good thing for me to be an agriculturist, to walk in his footsteps. But I, by default, if you want to call it so, or by some incident or coincidence, I happened to get into forestry. How? All my
before you go to that, you go to that, because I'm very much interested in wanting to know that, how you get into forestry.
Yeah.
Now, before you go there, I want to find out from you about, as a boy growing up, that you lived in a house that was haunted. I need to know a little bit about that.
You didn't want to believe it a little later?
No.
Shane, we must talk about the forestry later.
I have to.
Yes. We went to a place in Upper Lane. Upper Lane is that lane which is in front of the All Saints, which is in front, going up here from north to south, or call it the side if you want, of All Saints, also of Republic Bank. It used to be Scotia Bank. Going up that whole place there, that little lane there, that is Upper Lane. So that is where my mother next got after we left 60th Street. That's where we went to live. So in there, while we're there, some people, they had Marlene, you know Marlene? That was on the radio.
Yes.
And Milton, her brother, and other people there. And one day they are telling us that this house where we live in is haunted. I'm not seeing you again.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's telling me that this house is haunted. But I never took her seriously, eh? I remember she was telling me and my brother that also. I never took her seriously. My mother was still boarding people. That same weekend, a Friday, I started to hear noise in the house. Toop, toop. And I got up from my sleep. Also from the light sleepers. My mother from the Carib side of the family. So I got up, and I don't know Elsof himself is up, by the way. So I am up. Again, we were under the bed. Elsof was on top of the bed. I was under the bed. So, not exactly under the bed, but your bed being made there. And two boys on top of the bed, Elsof and another guy. So I am there thinking, and I said, but that is a noise, that's a foot I hear in there. There is a person with 1 foot. Doop. Doop. Oh, that's okay. Sorry about that. I couldn't understand what was happening. And it's then I remembered that Marlene and them were telling us that in truth and in fact, that place is haunted. But I never took them seriously. So I realized that is true. And I thought I alone up, and the thing is coming towards my room. Toop, toop. And I'm getting scared and more scared. So when I look up, I saw my door was open. The door which four of us were sleeping, that of the room was open. So I tried to move. Sandy was in that same room next to me. Yes, next to me. I remember that. I start to crawl, but I was closer to the door, so I start to go. Sandy snoring like heck. Sandy's not getting up. And at least I wish somebody would get up, because I alone can't face that, whatever it is that coming. So I tried to go and push the door before that thing came through the door, because I see it's heading towards the door. And as I'm going to push the door, I saw Elsof get up, going to push the door too. That's when I get to know my brother was awake. And the thing pushed that door open, man, in his face, and he jumped under the bed. So he jumped under further than me, then go inside there, not knowing that I was awake at the time, but I knew two of us were awake then. And that was a big talking Tom. And when we tell those people out there, they say we lying. Whether we want sensation. I said, no, it really happened. How else of a guy to decide to get up last night while we're sleeping and say to fool you guys? Eventually, everybody got to hear it. My mother got to hear it, my auntie got to hear it, and everybody has got to hear that place. I was going to SMA at the time, and I'm telling you, we had a time they call study period in those days. And as soon as study period finished, I would run home. People still wonder why I'm running. Who am I trying to get to before it gets later? When the guys go to cinema, because the young guys are not, people like me are not supposed to go to cinema in the night. It's matinee. So now and then, if I have to go, because I was getting big, I have to be with everybody. And when we're going up that step, whether in an internal step, I'm in the middle there among those big boys. I used to be liquor boy, big boys in front, big boys behind me, big boy on each of my side, and I'm in the middle going up there. That is my position in going up there.
So as a boy growing up, a lot of Jumbi, a lot of Lugau stories?
Boy, I tell you, I've been Sandy used to sleep at home. I also had guys sleeping at home. When we get up and go for mango, if it's auntie. And it was we had decided who going to put on the light, in the drawing room when we get up at 5 o'clock. Being the smaller one, the sellers used to bully me to go and put on the light all the time. I say, but I went the last time. They're afraid. And I used to go and put on the light. And we had a whole adventure that we don't want to go through now in that house. Like my brother coming one night playing that he's so brave, the prison officer. As soon as he finished talk, we just see a plate scatter about, water open inside and so on. And then a good while afterwards, he just get up and you go, I say, Oliver, you didn't hear that? He said, no, I didn't hear anything.
Someone's on the line there. Good evening to you, caller.
Well, we set up Pentecostal church, it was Jabez's house. I tell you, our big brother was living in Ashton Castle. The pipe in the back opening. When you go and watch, you get a slap in his face,
Who's that? What did you say?
And the big brother, Ashton Castle.
Yes.
He get a slap on his face, when he goes to who goes in back from,
In the States?
Yes, slap in his face. Yes, tell me that.
No, he said he got a slap. A guy got a slap in his face.
The house builders after that called Jabez. And in another instance again, a lady was living there. Tell the Popo, Lakou Podcast, wakatan la kota kawe, mun kamute mas lausa. He must have the public and my power yo. So he don't like him.
All right, thanks.
Popo talk near Christians.
Yes.
The same person you say, if you could recommend for any piece of land from to plant if I want to plant.
Okay. All right, sir. All right.
Thanks.
Okay.
No, Christian.
Yeah.
You went to grammar school. Sorry, St. Mary's Academy.
Yeah.
You finished with St. Mary's Academy. Where next did you go?
I worked for a while, and then that's how I got involved with forestry.
Where did you work? Where did you work before getting to forestry?
I worked with I worked manager training at Astor Funds, and then I went to income tax division there, and I was, let me see, yes, while I was at income tax division, I was looking for a scholarship. When you leave school prematurely sometimes. You don't have time to go to sixth form at the time in those days. But you want to continue, but your parents are so poor that you decide to leave early. That was the situation in those days. So some of us went to sixth form, some of us did not go. And it's not because we didn't want to go, but because we were forced to, because we want to help. We feel sorry for our parents, they all those years they're supporting you and you're going to school for many years now. You need to start working. So I wanted a scholarship. And so I saw they were advertising some forestry scholarships, first in Canada And then later on we get to know in Trinidad. So I went because that's when you had stopped me some time ago. That's what I was about to say. In those days, we didn't have computers, so my area for research was in the library. I always used to go and take those big encyclopedia books, and I had a lot of fun in doing research like that. So I went to research forestry. Like so many other people, I thought forestry was a type of agriculture. It was not at all, a completely different thing. So I found out that forestry, and that really hooked me up, is the third greatest natural resource in any nation, which only comes third to the people and the land. The greatest resource is the people. The land is the second greatest resource, and the third greatest resource is the forestry. It's forestry, or forests, if you like, forests. And so I started researching. So by the time I wrote, they called me in with other guys, Michael Zamo, Raymond Henry from Point Michel. By the time we get, because Arlington James and Claude Bellot had already gone on that same course, which I didn't know, we didn't know at the time. So when we went and we met a panel of people and they question you, and they find out what you know, what's your interest, are you serious? And so he later contacted us and said that we were successful for the Canadian scholarships. That was CEDA. And we went there. And brother, one of the reasons I run to forestry, I have to tell you a secret. I had enough of maths in SME, though I was very good in geometry, but not so good in arithmetic or algebra. Well, algebra was better. So I say, if I go into forestry, I'll be finished with mathematics. That was another incentive, just to find out that is where mathematics lie down with, in forestry. There is a subject called management. You see formulas, or formulae as they call it, you never saw before in your life. I didn't know that. First of all, we had to do 2 terms of surveying, trigonometry, no maths. But I rather enjoyed everything. And so I went there, and I got and found out. In fact, I told God, had I known, I would never have been involved in any other work than forestry. I was born for forestry. Forestry was born for me. It was made for me. I get to know God unwittingly got me into forestry. I said that I couldn't think of doing any other work than that work in forestry. Mm-hmm. Forestry has a lot of discipline. That's engineering. That's management. That's all sorts of things. And so that's how I got involved in forestry. In my days, forestry was the top among the Caribbean islands. In Dominica, I would put ourselves only, if we put ourselves second, if I would put ourselves second, I'd put myself second only to Trinidad. All the other countries. And that stands to reason because true jungle can be found in Dominica, not the other islands, Dominica. Oh boy, your place is so cold, that's why I'm trembling like that. Okay.
And I wish I could manage from my the air
No, that's
condition.
okay. That's okay.
Yes.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering why am I trembling for? I realize is that.
So now when you did that interview and you were given that call, that call to go to Canada.
But we went to Trinidad. We found out it was not in Canada later on. I don't know how they mistake or if it was a mistake at all.
Okay.
So we ended up in Trinidad.
What was your impression?
When
you first were first told that yes, you have been accepted, what did you see? I
was very happy.
Your emotion like?
Man, in those days, I mean, a young man doesn't want to continue. The man wants to continue educating himself and to specialize. And not specialize in a particular, once you would specialize, it has to be a particular discipline. And so to get an opportunity to go there is good. And in those days, when we went in those courses, there was no room for failure. no matter how tough it is. There's no room academically I'm talking about, because you don't want to be ashamed somehow to go home because you failed your course. So when you go there, you have to necessarily be very serious. And so, but there's still a lot of room for enjoyment because you know Trinidadians already. And I used to call Trinidad my second home. So it was quite an experience, both in the area of study, knowledge, understanding the complexities of life through forestry. It was great. It was fantastic, and you'd be doing subjects you'd be surprised to be doing. We actually did something called sociology, and there's so much you learn. You wonder what sociology has to do with trees. It has a lot. And there's so many things we did on that thing that you didn't really expect. The question of being prepared or not being prepared, but they didn't expect. So it was for us a lot of hard work studying, but I would say a lot of fun too.
By that time, you were not married. You had any children?
I was married. Yeah, I married very young. I married at the age of 22. My wife Sonia was 21. So I left, and we had one little girl, Natasha, the same one, the one up Shefford. And so I wasn't there for her first few years when she was growing up. But I remember taking her dolls, cars. I remember her telling me, watching me and telling me, Daddy, if you didn't bring that car for me, I'd not talk to you again. They're so small and they're so very smart, those children. Yes, but it was fun because we were all growing up at that time.
How did you make it out? Married, have a child home very young, and you had to go out there and study. Focus on the family and focus on school. How did you make it? No cell phone in that time.
You see, like your imagination, I have a lot of imagination. So let's just put it this way. We made it out. I would write Sonia twice a week. We'd receive a letter on Tuesday, and another one on Thursday. So she would receive one on Wednesday and Friday, something like that. So we used to get, because we didn't have internet in those days, so therefore I'd receive it twice a week and she'd receive her letter twice a week. I remember once, because you don't mess around people who are on such a campus studying, and when you have your letters, their thing. I remember my other colleague from Dominica, we worked together, Henry, having the bunch of letters distributing. Different people go for your letters in the office to distribute, and I know I had to get a letter. He's taking pictures out. I mean, this is this for picture. I was the president of the photography club. We achieved a lot there. Henry, I need my letter. Oh, they're posing the fellas. I actually stayed right on the side of one of the dormitory and fly at Mr. like a Superman, Later on, I felt sorry and just grabbed the thing of letters from him. He almost fell down. He's a tall fella, and I feel sorry because I think he get a rash or something. But I couldn't help it, and I looked for the pack, took my letter. I said, "Look, you can take all the rest of your pictures." I remember that day. But we had a lot of fun otherwise around that time. Besides the hard work, you'd go, your eyes red, studying. I guess people who go out there, the question is how I made it. We used to communicate twice a week. That's how we make it.
Wow,
that song, you probably play it on the radio. When I need love, just close my eyes and I'll get love. I don't know if you remember. Never knew there was so much love. It's in me night and day. Boy, that song used to play. I just would sit down and just dreaming or listen to that song. And when it was coming to the last year, when we had to graduation year, I'll never forget that there's this song that used to say, there's another song I used to sing a lot that used to remind me of home. She came to Trinidad when I was graduating. We all did very well. Zama and the other one, they got honors, I got credit. So we got not many people got that in our group at all. So when I knew I was going home, I'll never forget that boy. Sometimes when I hear the songs up to today, they bring a little emotion. Because you are married, as you said, and you have your little daughter. And at first I thought she was going to forget me. When I came, the first time I came for Christmas holidays, she watched, she studied me, and I did not believe that Natasha had grown so fast in this little time. She could talk. She sang about 20-something songs with her mother, make her sing for me. She was going to the preschool. So these were the days, and I would bring home a lot of records. I love music.
I want to come to that too. No, no. Tell us, how did you meet your wife, your beautiful wife?
What, boy?
Yes.
You really want to hear that?
I want to hear that love story. You have been speaking about your wife so much.
Yeah, she wanted to be a nun. I didn't know that at the time.
Say where?
Say where? Very serious. It wasn't easy not to make that break. And number two, I met her and Huguette Xavier, and she was Huguette Matthew. Andrew, sorry. Matthew was her husband, he died. And then she's now married. So she and they were pretty close. She and Sonia would be together. So we used to go and study in those days. I tell the children, they're lucky, they have a big house, they have places to go and study. We had to go and really go in the botanic gardens. A few of us, and that's where we used to go and study, boys and girls. Not like it's been done today at all. Study. And I met she and Huguette there. They were studying biology, I think. They were in 4th form, I was in 5th form. I was studying for GC. They were studying for juniors up in the convent. And Sonia was the one who asked a question, the shyest one who asked me a question. And I remember you get telling her, what you troubling the boy for? I'll never forget that. And then, so every time I study, I'd meet them. But Huguette was the brave one. And they come to talk with me. And that's how it used to be. Boy, I fell for that girl. They say head over heels or heels over head, I don't know. And I used to ask Huguette now, why is she always serious? And about that non-business, she's really serious. She said, she's really serious. She wants to be a nun. She's a very strong Catholic person. So, having to get her to think about falling in love was a very extremely difficult thing. It took a long time. But sooner, things have to change if you keep pushing and prodding. And so, don't forget she was an innocent girl. It's not, you see, I grew up at a time when there's a girl, I won't call her name, she used to live Goodwill, she's out of state now, she used to work in government service. She said once to me, she said, Billy, let me tell you something. You were a nice boy, you know. I said, not me alone, I know what she meant. I said, all the boys. She said, you all were very gentlemanly. I said, what do you mean? She told me, you wouldn't touch a girl or do anything. Because I grew up at the time, if you see, you try to touch a girl, it's a serious slap in your face you'll get, you know. And we respected girls, we're not foolish, we respected girls. And you'd see stars in the daytime if you try any such thing. So, we never touched girls, we respected them until they became your girlfriend. And the sex that's going on there, we never had those things in those days as such. I mean, they may have been the older fellas who do certain things with the younger girls, but not us. We were taught to respect girls, and we respected them. And my wife, you couldn't do anything with her. People like her, nuns they want to become. They're innocent.
I can imagine the amount of raps you had, man.
Boy, I had rap. My son asked her once, the Lux one.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I am no Rasta. And Rastas can't stay by him. He has locks and his beautiful locks daughters. He said, I'm a dread. And he asked his daughter mother once, I was inside my room and I heard them talking outside. How you decide to marry daddy, you know? Something like once. So mother said, he had talks, you know. Then he said, I heard him say, true. I must ask daddy, what those talks are? I want to know talks, to talk myself. Eventually he got married to himself. So we had to learn to respect women in those days. And that girlfriend, former girlfriend of mine, told me, you guys were so, how she put it, she said, you all were so respectful to girls that I call all you foolish. That's what she's telling me, you know. We're now big, you know. She worked in the Ministry of External Affairs. And I where was I working? I can't remember where. In the Botanic Garden, I can't remember. And so she said, I said, no, man, we're not foolish. We were very smart. We were not foolish. But we respected. And we had a good crop of girls in those days. Yeah. And I don't know what's happening now, but, you know, that's how it was.
When you decided to get married to her, what was your words to her?
Boy, I can't remember a thing like that. We were already going steady.
Uh-huh.
Going steady in a very decent way. Yeah. I say, I think it's time. Because remember, I'm growing, you know.
That's correct.
So by the time I reached 22nd, and before I reached 22 years, I said, listen, I think it's high time. At that time, I'd gotten a Riverside apartment. I said, let's go. So when I went to our father, I talked with him. I said to him, he knows we were going to study. I told him, Mr. Baptist, I would like to get married to Sonia. As you know, we are going steady and so on. You know, I don't want to say the idiot. You know what he told me? He said, he watched me and tell me, I will think about that. No, I'm telling Sonia now. I said, but what your father think it is now? I didn't come to ask his permission now. I came to tell him that because it is decent, I should let him know. But I worry about him. So I go and sit down and wait on this man. We got married up to now. He died. He never got back to me.
Never got back to you? No. Pap. What about her mother?
Her mother's different. Her mother liked me from the beginning because she saw I was very decent.
That is a nice one.
And she knew I loved. She knew. When they would send Sonia up Mount Daniel where they had the land to bring stuff for her mother's mother, and she'll tell me, knowing that I would come. So one Sonia tell me, when she sent, because we had to walk in those days, no cars were small, and she said, don't worry that Billy going to come and ask for you and I'll tell him you're up there. He'll come right away. And I did that. I didn't even know that. She actually was happy to tell me. So I say, what? She went up there alone? And I take off behind her. No, such was those guys. As I told, I remember telling my niece this morning I was telling her that when they heard I was going to get married, that is my sister, Mrs. Edmund Patrick, so she told Steady Steady as a husband, I see him come Fiska, he run down my river's apartment and he said, Billy, your mother is not well. And Melo tells me that you're going to get married. How did you arrive at that? I said, before I respond to you, I want to thank you for showing such love. I want you to know that I'm very, very impressed with you right now, that you would run down with your car to tell me that. But let me tell you the second point. Whether I go abroad to study first, or I don't go abroad, because that is where I go into, or whether she goes first or not, and we're not married. When we come back, if we come back, we must get married. That is the plan. Nothing going to stop that, so we don't have to continue discussing that. And he was good enough. I like it that he said, okay, if that's how you feel, that's okay. I said, that is done already. Mind makeup fixed up. Nothing can change that now, except God.
Your wife was beautiful, humble, and a pleasant woman.
Very much so. Mm-hmm. Beautiful and humble. Somebody told you that, or you knew her?
No, I knew her very well, but someone also said that Melta on Facebook it said that she was humble, beautiful,
Very
and
humble.
pleasant,
Very
and
beautiful.
said that you all are good people.
Yes.
How many children that you all had together?
4.
4. 2 boys, 2 girls.
2 boys, 2 girls.
Right.
That's right. Mhm.
And how many children that you have in total?
You figure out I would have others, eh?
You spoke about an ex-girlfriend, so I figured.
No,
that
no, I
maybe-
didn't have any children that other girlfriend. But it
Oh.
just so happened that I had the son who died, this very brilliant guy. He died at the age of 21. His mother got pregnant before I got married, but he was born after I got married. So I wasn't fooling the mother. She knew the business.
She knew already.
She knew. I had left school, so I felt I was stretching my hands a bit.
Fifth form boy and so on.
Yes,
You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
yes, yes,
So you
yes.
had to do what you had to do.
Yeah, because in those days, it's school first, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Not girls. When you finish, you figure out, well, I think now I can take a step.
No, you went to Trinidad, you studied, you did well, you came back with a good credit. And when you came back, what did your employer told you in terms of your job? Where did you go? What did they?
Well, what we were doing, why I tell you, we were top in the Caribbean there. We were getting young guys qualified to come and take over sections. Because in Forestry, you had national parks. Colmore Christian, now Dr. Colmore Christian, was the one in charge of national parks. You had something called silviculture, which is like agronomy if in agriculture. So I'm talking about forestry now. Forestry and agriculture were in the same ministry, but different divisions. So then agronomy used to take care of plants and so on. So the same thing silviculture would do with forestry. Nurseries, doing scientific work to monitor the growth of plants, stuff like that. I do a lot of observations. So that is the place I started off with. Then you had some of them like Michael Zamo take care of, start off in a place called utilization, which was, and then you had to combine 2 sections to get management. Eventually Zamo was in charge of management. And then, so you had national parks, silviculture, management, which is a combination of utilization and something else. So, and of course, you had administration, which Mr. Maxim and Mr. Gregor would be in charge of, the director and deputy director in those days. So we were senior officers in charge of different areas. Eventually, I took over from Zamo and do protection. Protection is really conservation and law enforcement and research. Arlington, if he's listening to me, would realize all that is involved. Research, conservation, and protection. And there's a lot of work in that, what I'm telling you. As well as national parks, because it includes the botanic gardens, the upkeep of that.
No,
So,
you all were pioneers.
yes, in a way.
In a way, yes. In terms of sensitizing people, we can consider that you all were pioneers. Prior to that, we were just saying that we have a forest. But in terms of the scientific aspect of it, you all studied a lot of work.
Yes.
Tell us, the listeners and viewers, in reference to being the pioneers, how much work that you all had to put into ensuring that regulations would have to put in place?
When I became in protection, I think I'm very innovative. I will do things as myself. I'll do things extra and do it in a certain way. People could think, well, are we going out of alignment of what you're supposed to do or whatever it is? But I realized with forestry, what the task we had ahead of us is people hardly heard of forestry. I remember Eugenia Charles was a lady like that. Didn't seem to like until she started to get some kind of technical blows from people coming there, because you look at Charles Maynard, for example, who was our minister at one time, and for some reason didn't really like us. Even the lady, Miss Nichols, who was in charge of the thing, we say forestry does things, it's like a state within a state. we were very innovative and we get things done because we had to be aggressive to get things done. So that I realized you had to first of all let the public, the Dominican public, know what it is we're doing, Saki Forestry, and that they have to be part and parcel of that. I had written an article while in Trinidad, and we did publish it in the New Forester, which was an annual publication we had in Dominica. Arlington was in charge of that. Can forestry be valued or interpreted in terms of dollars and cents? And I had to explain that because I sat down and think of that. A lot of people would know. I remember O.J. Seraphine saying as a minister, people will ask him, where's the money in that? But when you ask where's the money in that, it's not only that you're showing you're a little ignorant, you know. And I don't mean it in a negative way at all. Because for you to measure forestry in terms of dollars and cents, let us look at it. The water. Think of the value of water. Can you put a dollars and cents value on water? That is because of the forest. We have so much water in Dominica. Then you look around, you're talking about lumber itself. You're talking about the fertility of the soil. You're talking about little secondary things like, say, charcoal coming out from those things.
What about the animals?
And the animals, the wildlife itself, the game that you get in there. And forestry protects. You must have a corridor forest if you have to have a good, vibrant agricultural area. Because the birds that go into roost in the tree and cool off in the trees, when they come down in your plot of bananas and so on, which of those things, how you think your crops get pollinated? Is the birds, the butterflies and so on. So it's good to have a set of wildlife close by. All kind. Even in seed dispersal, the agricultural seed from there, you'll go in the forest, of a sudden you see a whole set of guava trees. Where they came from, strictly forest trees, is animals that eat the guavas and be flying over the forest, and then a little thing. That's just a little idea of pollination, where you just see certain type of species growing. They were brought there by animals. That's what you call the natural regeneration system taking place. So if you want to know, can you measure forestry in dollars and cents? That means you're very ignorant about forestry. You talk about the world's greatest resource, third greatest resource. So we had that task to let people know it's worthwhile to keep. And we brought forestry to the extent that you could not have any environmental meetings, regional meetings. Remember what happened after Hurricane David? You couldn't have one by not having a Dominican forester there. All the examples, all the scenarios were taken from Dominica, all of them. And unless a Dominican is represented at those regional meetings or wherever it is going, they think not good.
Let me ask you before we continue. Mm-hmm. You said that the government at the time, to even go back as before
Freedom Party,
mm-hmm. that government did not give too much of a focus on forestry.
That's right. That's putting it very nicely.
But what did you all have to do to sell the concept and to sell the idea?
So, good question. I was thinking of telling you that, but then as you brought it up, I'd forgotten. I said I'm going to give you two examples. Let's start with Mr. Maynard, who somehow didn't, I can't say much. But anyway, he was our minister. And one day, I was in the Botanic Garden, and we were going to receive one of those things. I think it's DER, that's written on it. It's a tractor to help with the gardens, cut the grass. And I sat down there and I heard Mr. Maynard said something that really had me that day. He said, I would like it, forestry talking about there is probably enemy number one. I would like to see that, like all the consultants who come with their briefcase here to do something for us, that Forestry would take their briefcase and go and show the same consultants all over the world how they will manage to do so much with nothing. You can imagine tears almost come down my eyes. He said, because I myself don't know how they do it. They will have the people, Eugenia Charles said when Hannah Clarendon asked her that question, we were at a workshop with Dr. Lunes, I remember, said, and she had to say as the last day, said, Madam Prime Minister, we would like to find out during the course that came out of our workshop this week, that forestry, which is so valuable to any nation at all, why are you keeping them so low-key? Eugenia Charles started, I'll never forget, she said, first of all, I want you all to know that I have been receiving many notes, letters, postcards from visiting dignitaries and experts to this country, actually commending me, congratulating me on the level of the forestry action and things they see there. But she doesn't tell us that at all. So I stand up listening to her, and she said, they're all in my office. But she kept that to herself. Eh? She said, the reason I haven't been putting much effort is because I'm much stress on forestry in Dominica. It's because forestry is a low-key thing. I say, my God. Because I recognize you asked me a question about what we had to do. I recognize we had to convince the people of Dominica. I was asked that question by a journalist once. When you leave, when I was about to retire, what would you like to see eventually? I say, what I'd like to see eventually is that Dominicans take the management of forestry in their own hands. That is, those fellows who like to, for example, those fellows who like to go and hunt, when they are in the forest and they see people hunting and they know those people don't have their license or they suspect that or they were told so, or it is not the hunting season, go up to the guys and talk to them. And if you feel like it, come and let us know. We'll get involved. You are now managing your own resource. Nobody's doing it for you. You have to see that people get their license and don't break the law for things, or cutting trees that's not your trees, stealing them and going, and us people squatting. And the other thing is this, I'd like to see forestry be bringing dollars and cents. That's what they're doing with the ecotourism now. I was the person who was holding on for whoever was on leave at the time in the national parks, because my substantive post was protection officer, go out there and hold on the national park. And so when we went into the ecotourism, it was Adolphus Christian that was brought there. And that is the time we make the most money. We never made it again in the millions. I don't think we ever made millions again.
Someone on Facebook,
ecotourism.
Someone on Facebook said that everyone from Felix Gegua, Dave Williams, Michael Zamo, Billy Christian, Stevenson Jura, Albert Gallion, to name a few. Take a bow. You guys did a great job.
Thank you. They actually in Trinidad, and I attended a CITES, that is Control of Endangered Species. That's another party. When I went and I gave the presentation, that was the first time I received, all of them gave me a standing ovation there. I tell them it's not me. And I always quick to bring all the thing. Tell the guy, thank you, whoever said that. I bring all the praise to my men. First like Philip Roll, first like Philip Matthew. Those guys who are master guys on knowing about species. I can't see those guys. Okay? And I am saying that I always tell them my men would come on something. They see an offense, like when they had the forest inventory in one of those years, was it 78 or somewhere around there. These fellas were 3 months out from their beat, were up at Marigot doing, taking measurement on the thing, where they had to write a new book on the forest in Pentra Dominica. When they went back on their beat, they would see an offense where a parrot was killed. And I wrote that again, I give an account of that in the annual Forester, and St. James would know that. And when they went back, they heard about a guy killed a parrot. Them fellas worked backwards and found out who the guy is. I wrote an account of that. These guys were good. I mean, these guys would come and see forest offense. They'll see anybody, know anybody, and have to work from there and collect them. These guys were the best detectives in Dominica. Nothing against the police, I'm telling you. And so when I talk about, and I told them, on my desk, in my file, a case is never closed. I never close a case. Talking about the law enforcement aspect now. So I say, not me, the men, but I highlight them. I gave them their dues. We had massive reports in the end. Because I say, people don't know how God has been looking at this country. And God chose the correct men. Because for you to open forestry, you have to love forestry. There are fellas there, foot to get rheumatism because you have to cross rivers when you're going up there. Forestry is not a thing you do inside an office like I hear they're doing now. Forestry is a thing you go out in the forest. There's no such thing like I being managing that section and see those fellas going there. I have never not been to a site where a forest offense was thing. Don't care where it happened, in Granby, Pedita, up the heights of Woodford Hill, Simper, any place up Lap Lane, that rugged area, I have to go there.
So in the early days, Mr. Christian, how you felt when you would have heard people, it was a common cliche, people would have said, man, trees doesn't make money. How that made you feel, knowing the kind of work that you all were doing?
Well, there's one way to look at that. The people needed education. I used to take my men. I used to take Stephen Duras, my assistant, at one time. I had to write Phyllis Greco to tell him that I think Philip, who was a graduate from the community high school, it's time we take him up from the field and bring him up to me there. Greg's asked me, you don't think you'll get him to waste his time? I don't think he understood what I said. I said no. And from there, and he never looked back. This man produced a book. They wrote a book, he, Arlington James, and Bertrand, on birds, the only book on birds in Dominica I know, written there. Because I saw the potential in Stephen. I asked for him and I saw the potential. And he was there with me. And everything I did, he was close by with me. So I am saying that when we look around and we take, and we did what we had to do there, if somebody comes and says what you just asked there, that is just trees, I have to say more education. So we used to go out in the night. We used to have town hall meetings, Grand Fort, Mont Jean, his place, his own place, which was Good Hope. We used to go there nighttime and have, arranged before that, of course, for us to have meetings there. Would have patrols in the night while people sleeping. My wife came out with me. I bought a brand new Toyota in those days, and the little boy was, I think, Gregory. He's now an engineer, my son. A fella come for a big stone to send after me while my wife is in front there, the little baby there, and she's decided she's not coming out with me again. Because once they see me, say book forestry, preventing him from hunting crabs, preventing from things. Boy, I'm telling you, we actually... at one time, I wondered about myself because up in the heights of Cuba, I was between two giants. A big guy, his boat, they say, had sunk somewhere in the ocean, in Dominica and Guadeloupe, and he was the only one, they say, who make it back. He's a giant man. Another one they call Christian or so. Big other fella again. They want to kill each other with cutlasses. And I'm between those two guys with nothing in my hands, trying to tell them to keep themselves quiet. This is government land we're talking about. None of all you own it. And afterwards, I sat down and think of it. I said, but I think I'm going to file that job. I could die there. You know, between those two guys. And there were people with guns, fish guns at the river. One of them had planned to push it in my stomach. They were just things, and for you to, if you really love forestry, you couldn't have stayed like a nice little fella. I remember certain guys who play football I wouldn't call his name. And they say never for long. Everybody have a big muddy thing in their backside on a rainy day, but not him. Well, forestry is not that kind of work. You have to get yourself muddy. And there are things you do, things that people will never know. Things you prevented government from getting into trouble. I'll give you an example. One guy, my ranger in the Central Forestry Reserve, came to me and he said, so-and-so, an ex-police, declared that he has a problem with us. He declared dispute with us. So he wants us to come and get our marks, our boundary mark between the forest reserve in the central area, up Glogomie, whatever place I'm talking about, and so on. So I saw exactly where he was going. So I told Oxy, I was the ranger at the time, from Campbell, I said, no. We don't have a dispute with him, do we? No. He has a dispute with us? Yes. Tell him as much as he has a dispute with us, he has to prove where his boundary marks are. And I told Oxy, I pulled him aside, I said, you know something? This man going to sell his land. He doesn't know his boundaries are. So you want to declare dispute with us, so we'll run because we can get the lands and service people, because we're the same employees of government. And I used to deal with them a lot and would ask for them, make formal requests, and they go. Then they get points where we cannot get points. So we're good enough to get our own points. And I want to ask Oxy again, have we encroached on the man's land? No. Tell him go and get his thing. He wants to sell his land, and he wants us to do the work. I'm not an idiot. I'm not involved in that thing. In a matter of 3 weeks, Oxy come tell me, Mr. Christian, how you know that? I say, man, it's a matter of common sense, man. He tell me he just got Vincent Robinson to come and to get his points for him, and he sold his land to somebody. No, you had to be smart. Your head had to be on there. Other, I had a lot of clinches like that, where we could have gotten government to even get in trouble. Fellas showing you the wrong land to put certain things, to resuscitate water catchment area. Not government land at all, no?
No, let me ask you. In the days of the early 70s, we know and we learnt of quite a lot of upheavals in the heights of the mountains.
Yes.
With the so-called dreads. How did the forestry department itself at that period dealt with these people?
What made you think of that? May I ask?
Talk about the heights.
Oh boy. We were in Trinidad still, and we came back. The dread thing was still going on. In fact, one of our guys, we call him Brother Watts from Bellevue there, was the one who brought the fellas where they killed a defense forcer and they killed a dread fella. So we were in the center of that whole thing there. We met Tumba up the road, amen, and they had to use their head. Fellas have met me up there and tell me we are informers to the police. Yes, we talk with the police to a certain extent as part of the work. But I had to use diplomacy. I tell him we don't have guns, and you know that, and we don't have big knives. All you have is a cutlass to cut our way through the forest. Why would be that foolish? You have to use your head a lot, because you could get killed in the forest. There's a place where I think the same Stephen DeWright, my assistant, and Ronnie Winston, one of the best worker ever, right in the heights, God knows where, and deep inside, some locked guys met me, and them rastas meet there inside there, and they got caught because they had seen some marijuana plantations there. They were in the midst of all those things in the dread, but they had to use their head. The thing about the forestry people, we are not hostile towards the people, because these are the people we're going to meet. These are our neighbors in the forest, and it's easy for them to ambush us. As I say, we don't have guns. So meeting the people inside the forest at the time, you had to be very diplomatic. Don't show you're afraid of them, and do not be aggressive with them. But don't appear that you're going to trying to fool them, and they will figure out you're talking nonsense now. You are trying to bluff your way through. So you have to be very, very present-minded and to take everything in stride. So we avoided a lot of cliche. I avoided a lot of such things like that myself, personally. Government, because then you have to be fast in thinking inside there. But yes, we did survive during that thing. When we came back, that was the state of things in Dominica at the time.
Knowing that you all had a plan as the department, during that period of the 70s, did we witness a ministry called, or a side ministry, a sub part of the ministry called Forestry, or it was just Ministry of Agriculture?
No, it was Ministry of Agriculture, and there were 3 government section divisions there. That was the Fisheries Division, the Agricultural Division, and the Forestry Division, and then there was also the cooperatives, also with the place around that time you're talking about. Not we never had some forestry in its own. I guess they figured out forestry was not important enough to have its own ministry. We were always grouped up with some other division. Or mainly agriculture, but now I hear they are separated. I'm not too sure what's happening now.
No, in all of this, your job or your job was to ensure that we remain green. To have the various shades of green in our forest.
That was it.
How difficult was that to convince central government at the time in reference to making us remain green?
Well, strange enough, the senior officers who know about that will tell you that one of the things that we tried to do, and we succeeded, is to get every government to declare a place as being a national park. For example, there was an addition up in Syndicate. It was done during, and we got people to finance it, by the way, not the government, other people financed it, paid the money. So it was the Syndicate area, I think it was. It was going to be another place that's going to be, I don't want to use the word sacrosanct, but well protected. And so it happened under one of them under the ministry of, government, of the Freedom Party. The second one happened under the government of UWP, Edison James, and the third one that happened under the ministry of Labour Party. So, like, we want to show every government they played a part in doing that. That's a nice little smart and very harmless way to get government on the side. It's not that only it is necessary, it's good to say, because there are a lot of people who will be vexed with us. We're looking for, say, nesting trees for the parrot, for example, and it's on another man's land. And if the man want to play wicked, you just cut down the tree. In those days, we were struggling. If the conservation of parrots, when we came in, there were about, how many parrots they say? About 60 Cicero, and probably about 100 of the jackal. Right now, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those things. You drive all along, you see iguana. And so it's unfortunate that the crapo has gone. But the crapo is such an animal that it breathes all along his skin there, it's very moist all along and it's very sensitive. The crapo is the type of animal, if there's anything wrong, if the soil, the crapo is the first that will bow down under the effects. So the crapo, they're like sensors. So anything, imbalance, problem, so on, and that's why they went the way they went there. But if you look at the iguanas, if you look at the parrots, I mean, there's been a great influx of those things in terms of population. They've increased tremendously. We did a great job. The only place I am very sorry about is the rivers, and nobody seemed to be listening. Because if you look at the rivers, yourself know how it was when you were small and used to bathe in all the rivers, all about Wesley, Dam, Melinda, bottom, as they used to call it, Mambry. These areas were deep. Never saw areas deep like that. But these areas now, when you walk in, the river is around your ankle. The they're not paying attention to that place. I remember once Nico Horsberg, that is Hilroy Alfred, told me once about the Cassibus River, how dangerous it is walking on stones there. It's always dangerous to walk on stone. But what made it dangerous is that there's a lot of moss growing on the unicellular plants or whatever, and it becomes slippery. My daughter would like to hike, Natasha. Said, Daddy, I'm not going up Jacko Flats again. Now you have to cross the river many times. But the thing is slippery, you could break your bones there. So why am I telling you that? Because there's a fish they call teta. If anybody can see a teta, call me and tell me where it is. Teta was a scavenger, realize. And you'll eat those moss, keeping the stones clean for you. Where is the teta now? You guys see teta?
That's why.
Where's his Aji?
That's why we used to get the teta underneath the stones. I'm here not for the first time, not for the very first time.
They're scavengers.
It was a scavenger.
Yeah, and they eat those things on the moss. Like you put it in your aquarium at your home, and the fish, you must have the scavenger to eat all those things down there for you. That's why they're down there. Don't keep it very.
So what do we have to do to get back those kind of species?
They might. I don't know. We need to do a thorough study. That is where I would start to find out why those things disappeared. It's like, remember the thing they used to call mocap? And so a lot of birds, pedu and so on, would think as they eat the worms, So here it is now. You have to start with research and find out what can be done and why they disappeared in the first place. I used to see big tita, my aunt used to cook that. That was very nice. And then you had other... I used to see, right in the Roseau River, I used to see orange or red fish darting here and here. Some of them were lush, some of them were dummy. There's something they call zaji, I think. And you don't see those things anymore. Right in Roseau River, I used to see that.
And you've seen less of the milikaka now?
Oh, yeah. Come to think of it, I don't see milikaka again. I used to see a lot of them. I don't see them again. Strange you thinking of that. So I am saying to myself, you call it milikaka. I don't think those fish should be happy with that name, but that is how I used to call it too.
Everybody calls it milikaka.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I am saying to myself, no, you need to have there was such a project going on. I was so happy and I heard it was skybrush from the top. So I don't know, because you must have somebody studying something. It's not waste of time. It's not futile. It is good. It's important that you have those things to happen. And see if we could bring back those type of fishes. When we had the thing at Mathieu, the big landslide, it was not landslip, where this lake was, as Allington would call it, the plug, where there was a lake there. And then other things. And you say, there will never be fish again in that part of the thing. But nature has a way of recuperating and coming back. And I think we need to bring back all those fishes I talked to you again, especially.
I like what you said, because for the very first time, I've heard several rational reasons why the Chapeau got extinct. But
it's very fragile.
Here it is, you're now telling us that it is very fragile.
Yeah.
And how the skin itself is that moist, and based on what happens in the soil.
Yeah,
It's
not tolerant at all.
Right.
Of those adverse conditions.
So how do you think that we can get the Chapeau back? Or can we say, by virtue of what happened to the Chapeau, we now need to start testing our soils?
There were people studying the Chapeau, but I'd left long ago, so I don't know much about it. But there was a special team of outsiders working with us here to see if they could get places, because the whole idea was, if a set of Chapeau or one or two was spotted there, then you have to start working there to keep them moist, keep them in a kind of way so that it will be conducive to the survival of that Chapeau in that particular area. So I don't know what is the latest on that.
That is why as a boy growing up, we would have observed that whenever it rained, that you see a lot of Chapeau jumping up and down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
Yes. Yes.
I'm just thinking about it now.
Let me tell you. You remember when we used to produce lime juice?
Yes.
Elrose?
Elrose, yes.
And you used to see at time the river used to look yellowish, like coming down. They used to let go the
yellow
effluents,
juice.
the little thing, extra, the byproduct, so to speak, in there. And you'll see fish jumping up, they jumping up because that thing was
too strong for them.
Like
too strong for the
it messed them up.
Yeah.
Sometimes we call it deleterious substances, so it's a little poisonous, a little bad, adverse for them. So they would fly up in the air.
Wow. And you mean in those early periods that we didn't have experts or people intelligent enough who would have studied that type of environment to make that detection?
The aquatic thing. No. I that's why I think we need a major project in our river.
Bigger study needs to be made about our rivers, because you're talking about the theta, and you made the statement that if anyone can bring a theta for you, you'd be happy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a theta in years. I mean, as a boy growing up, we used theta to put on our bodies,
yes,
on our body parts. You know what I'm saying? You know?
I don't wait, I don't know that one. I think I just recently heard. Oh yes. It's from US.
Yes, you know. I mean, the ladies used to use it on their breasts, and the men used to use it on their penis.
But they used to use that thing they call not to interrupt you, but that thing they call leeches, where they put their hand to suck the blood, the old blood. You know they had leeches in Dominica. I don't see them again.
I don't see leeches ever. Thinking of it.
I see.
So that's a good study for the Ministry of Environment, I think, is in terms of going to study our various rivers and the water content.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't do it without the involvement of forestry. It's more forestry than anybody else. But it would be good to check them. As I was saying about the mocap killing, the pedway and certain things, there are certain things I wish to see up in that. Somebody's talking to you?
Yes, someone's on the telephone. Good evening to you, caller.
Talk with them.
Good evening to you, caller. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, well, you see where Nassif is at Pottersville, Nassif.
Yes.
Yeah, is that there? You see that bridge there? People used to wash their clothes there, and people used to fish inside there, and even use net there to hold fish. They used to have a May. They used to have mullet, and I think they call cocoa.
Yeah.
They could go there right there.
Cocoa.
They were down by cocoa lady at the bridge there. People used to wash there, catch TTV there, and I used to fish in the river and hold dormy there when algae massive. They were down wrapping cock. People used to wash there and hold TTV there. So things change.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right.
I just want to answer the person that asked, did that really work? The theta, yes, it did work.
Somebody asked that question.
Yeah, it did work. if you ask boys my age, they'll tell you it did work. I'm not so sure about the women, but I know for the men it did work. Yes, quite a number of people are actually communicating on the live, on the YouTube and Facebook. I'm interested. Random story of how my father helped convince Chubby to come back to the music. Yes.
You say that?
Your daughter.
Oh. I wonder who did that besides me? Chubby. Oh, Nicole is still up. Chubby, my man brought up Philip Matthew. He brought Chubby to my attention that he actually was squatting government land. That shouldn't happen during my watch at all. And I was very strict when it comes to those things. So they brought him to me. And the director has, it's in the law, he has the authority to compound cases if he doesn't want to bring it to the court, to the magistrate court. The thing is, I love to preside over compound cases representing the director. Why? Because it gives me an opportunity to educate the people. I don't also like to, I told some guys from the planning department once, our job and the police themselves, if they're listening, they must listen to that. Their job is not to harass people. Public officers, their job is not to harass people. Those in law enforcement, it is to facilitate people. I have always looked. You don't wait till somebody's building a house where they can mash up the house. From the time they start, you jump on them and you stop it. So our job shouldn't be to harass public. It couldn't have been that they're paying you for. It is to facilitate, to educate, and to help. And if you tell somebody not to do that, then you have to show them what to do. You can't just tell them don't do that. And the policemen, they need to know those things. So I myself, when Chubby came, so when it comes to compound cases, I prefer to sit down with you. I've seen a lot of big men, troublesome women cry in the office. Those who give us the most trouble in the field, if cutlass, they want to do this, they want to do that to us. These are those that cry when we take them up in the office to keep that case. So I called Chubby and I brought him in a very quiet environment, not in the office. We were close to the Avery. That Avery place in the Parrot. And I sat down with him and Philip was there and I said, Chubby, if we were to allow people to just go in government land as they want to do it, how business going to run here now? We can't allow that. So he understood that. And I said, because he's thinking I'm going to charge him money. I say, I have that authority, a country law, to charge you. Representing my director, he's not there. So he's allowed me to call to cases, whether it's Felix Gregor or Maxime or whoever. So I said, listen, this is the case, I'll write you a letter. I have to do it, I have to document that. I don't want you to go, so I'm going to give you 3 months. Take all the crops you have there. You have crops now? Yes. Yes, Mr. Christian. Take it off, I give you that chance. And just vac it, just disappear from there. So we agreed on that. I say, I'll write you again too, just so you know what you have to do. I say, however, I want you to do one thing. He said, what is that? He said, listen, I say, I heard for the past couple of years you haven't been in the public eye, not producing records, not producing anything. You just there, you finish with music. My whole family, both on father and mother side, are musicians. I want you to go back. Would you do that? He said, yes, sir. He smiled. He said, I will. I said, I'll be monitoring you, I will know I have nowhere going, He said, I leave. And after that, he went back. And Chubby became real great after that. Everybody knows the albums he produced and all those things. Those things were not there at the time. And he went back. So that's what Nicole is saying. I gave her the story. So she's saying, tell the story about how you caused Chubby to go back and sing. Well, I'd like to believe that after we spoke and he saw how I handled him, I didn't charge him, I just warned him. He went back. And
I also want to speak about Calypso. But before I do that, I would like to find out from you in reference to, I'm told that Chapeau is the thermometer of the ecosystem. How true is that? And if that's true, how is that so?
No, but it's just like I told you. Anything that happens, the first animal that will show an indication there's something wrong with the environment is the crapo. So in that case, it's the crapo is the thermometer to check whether there's something wrong happening, whether in the soil or in the atmosphere itself. And from that way, you can call it a name they want to learn. It's English we're talking, so you can call it names. Thermometer, the indicator, like we have what we call indicator plants. Certain plants will only grow in certain areas. In the dry, rugged areas, certain plants you're going to get. You're not going to get those plants that need the nice, fresh, tropical forest atmosphere and environment. So we call them plant indicators. So this crapo is an indicator for anything going wrong. But I think we make a mistake, and I sort of blame myself a lot privately. I didn't want to say it here, but I blame myself.
Why?
Well, because I should have known there's something I should have been, because I'm an aggressive person, I should have jumped on that already, because I did get some reports. Some people were talking to me and they told me certain things. That's long ago, not now. And I thought, had I done certain things, and not the director of Forestry, but had I at least blow some whistle, probably they would not have gone.
But we had Chapeau around the country.
Yes,
and
all at my home.
But you're saying that there would be an indicator. would the indicator mean outside of the soil? Outside of the soil, would the indicator mean also the environment? Certain trees
of course,
in the environment
of
would
course,
disturb the existence.
We don't know. I mean, whatever it is, the crab would be on their back. They die. You see them getting things. Something kill them. They don't say it's either chemicals or it's something that stay their disease. You know that at one time people talked about the black sicker tucker, I think they called it. That's to do with, was it bananas or what?
Bananas, that's correct.
Then you have the citrus problem we had at one time. The bananas was a long problem, you know.
And then you had to get chemicals to deal with those situations. So you were saying that it could affect those grapples.
I'm not saying that, but now that you ask that question, I'm thinking any of those things could have triggered off whatever it is. But they had people studying that. They should have had some answers. I think Forestry should have some answers by now, because it's many years now since that's been happening.
And what about the crabs? We have realized that we are not seeing crabs
as
in the hundreds as
you
often.
see them, eh?
Yes.
Down Lakou especially.
Is it because the way we built our sea walls or sea defense walls?
Okay.
That we do not give them access to lay their eggs somewhere else? What's
There's
the
a
cause?
lot of speculation on that could sparkle out debate and discussion. There was one time where they thought that I think I was talking with Mr. Colin Bully at the time, that the crabs had to climb up, but it was necessary to make certain holes going right through. So from the bay side, they would pass through those little channels here and there, you spread it around, and they would go back on the other side. Because the reason they drive from there and they go inside there, they say in the first place, is to wash their eggs in the seawater, saline water. And then after doing that, the eggs, so they needed that process for it to, how could I call it, say?
Exist?
Not exist. For the things to birth. It's like when you have prawn project, I had gone to Martinique to do something like the prawns, big, they call it Rosenbergii. I try to remember the name, but this is a 76, you forget a lot. So when the for the thing to come, the liquor we call the larvae, to come into the adult crab, you must have saline water at some point in their metamorphosis, in their journey to move from one stage to another. The same thing with the crabs. You had to have a stage where they're going to wash it in the saline water, which is the seawater, and come back to let go the eggs for them to develop. So that is needed. Yes, so you have to do that. You have to put certain holes, certain places for them to come out from inside there and to go back in the bay, because I don't think they're necessarily birthed in the bay side.
So the troublesome question
inside, and they go to the bay, and then they come back.
So the troublesome question to you, while you were at Forestry, did you see your department working together with people of physical planning, people of communication and works, to ensure when the walls, the seawall defense have been built, not only to defend us as people, but also to protect our habitat?
I don't really, let me tell you, Joseph, I don't think there were many projects of seawall during my time, but let me just answer that. I remember I have always spoken with this free government department, Lantern Service, planning. And planning will send things that will end up on my desk. It'll go to the director and then it'll come to me. And so we are the guardians, so to speak, of those wildlife here. So yes, we used to do that. We used to ensure those things pass there. We would in terms of the public works people. Yes, they knew that, and I think public works used to cooperate a lot on that matter there. Why is there a decline in the population right now? As I say, there could be speculation, but I believe that right now, where I used to see endless crabs in Lakou, Lale cocoa is nobody lale cocoa. The trees are not there. There's no a lot of habitation there. There's a big opening. There's a big hotel that's just completed there. You're not going to be seeing those crabs again somehow.
You think climate change, you think the heat of the climate also can warrant the extinction?
I think the damage would be minor in that case. Really. I think it's more people coming, cutting whatever forest around there, whatever it is that will let it be cool and calm for the crabs to go undisturbed, you know. 'Cause right now, things are changing a lot in terms of people taking over things. I told the lady the other day, when you look at where we have gone to build our houses, at Wall House, even Emsall, all those areas, and I said, these were the areas, they're supposed to be the areas of rats, you know. We are now in the place of rats and of snakes. So we can't be too vexed when they come around, but you have to protect your home to keep rats off. I don't like cats, but I have a lot of cats where I live there because I live around a forested area up in Glasgow. So
I never knew Emsall was a place of snakes and rats.
But one of the biggest snake I ever saw is on the road to Emsall. How you mean you never know that? Anyway, that there's bush is not snake now in Dominica.
Yes, but
yeah, man.
But to coin it to say that there's a place where rats and snakes, I don't expect rats and snakes residing in the same area because
that is exactly why I'm telling you. If they come around there, you are in their place. That is their natural habitat. So you think they ain't got rats there, and you think they ain't got snake there. Daniel Green had a lot up there, and Daniel Green let go a lot. They come by me and so on. They all up there, all in Glasgow, they have snakes. You see them there now and then. And the agouti, increased agouti up there nicely. When my daughter lives in Shufford. Agouti, we see that there almost every day. Nice agouti. They learn to live with the people there.
Upper some Manico.
Manico, boy, Manico has become pest now. Manico all about you, boy. A lot of Manico, just like iguana now. Once a blue moon, you see an iguana. Once a little boy going to Western holidays, you know. So the wildlife somehow has done very well in Dominica. The wildlife. I'm concerned more about forest clearing. Mm-hmm. But still they're doing well in spite of that. And that is why the parrots will come down low at people's place, go in people's garden and eat oranges and so on. Because they find that their place is getting smaller and smaller because of people encroaching. I'm not saying that we shouldn't get place to live. That's not what I'm saying. I say it's just a fact of life. As the population increases, though, in Dominica, I don't really think our population increasing that much. But it's just where people go. Everybody wants a space. Everybody wants a portion of land.
What about as we're talking about the ecosystem and the environment? What about the turkey, the turtle?
A turtle. Well, we did quite a bit of work on turtle. I was really involved in turtle protection, and I think there's some new adjustment to laws in turtle, and we used to kill turtle, black is white, and eat it, especially down La Plain side. But now I don't know if they still have it, but you had two groups of men, one in the daytime, one in the nighttime, to patrol the beaches and so on. Since Errol Harris has died, I don't have somebody to ask the question. He was there coordinating things. His wife is at that time now. So I don't have the latest information on turtles, but if you are to take a guess, I should say they're doing well. If they're not doing well, that means they slack off. You cannot have conservation and slacking off. There's no sense in having that like that. So, but I don't, tell you the truth is I don't know.
Now, let's go back a little bit because we are almost to the end.
Yes.
Calypso. I know that sometimes people say to you that you belong to a particular religious denomination and you should not believe in Calypso. I want to find out from you, as a boy growing up, how much Calypso did you, I'm only asking this question based on your daughter's
Involvement
in calypso. How much calypso that you found yourself listening to, or even because you said earlier on that you would have written calypsos.
Oh, you're talking about when I was with Rocco and Constance. That
Yes.
is solo.
Yes.
No man, listen. I love music. I came from a musical family, the Christians, and my wife herself, not the same family bloodline, but our children are, and she was one of the best music. Cedric Philip called her the something about the, how did he call it now? He called it, she has a music, how they call them, the people who'd been front. Right now it is Norman later son, the band leader then. Band leader. Because she used to teach music in St. Martin's School. And I mean, I saw she did achieve a lot in that area, getting the trophy for the test piece and for the alternative piece. She get that once. I don't know if anybody ever did that afterwards. So she on that side, she learned to play the piano, to play guitar. Also, my daughter Natasha was playing piano. They go first grade, second grade, and so on. And so my other son plays keyboard very well. The one in Miami, the engineer, Gregory. So we are a musical family. Nigel sings reggae. Nigel is deep into music. And so I grew up. My brother also was a Christian. I learned all the calypsos because they used to sing songs way back from when Sparrow was the king way back in 1955, talking about the Sputnik in the sky. So many, so all those guys, Kitchener, Nelson, Sparrow, and so on. These were the popular guys, and later on, Briner and other guys, and Duke and so on. I know those guys. Every record that came, my brother had it. In Trinidad there, I'd come home with many records every time. So music is in our bones. Nicole was born in music. Abia, born in music. I have nothing against once it is not in decent language and is in decent implication. It's a calypso. I enjoy it. But my problem is with Carnival. Reveling. The Bible is against that. I cannot be for that. Anything that the Bible is against, I'm against myself. Anything the Bible is for, I am for. So, but when it comes to that, calypso and so on, I don't have a problem with that, who sings it or who doesn't sing it, if it's my daughter or my son or what. The thing is, if you happen to win the monarch crown for any calypso competition during Carnival, there are duties you have to perform. You have to go in a vehicle, parade the place and so on, and you definitely are involved in Carnival reveling. Whether or not you don't believe in it, you support it. Mm-hmm. That's my only thing.
Do you believe that?
Because I think you asked me that question because of my daughter. What you saying now?
I was asking, do you believe that Carnival comes from that of slavery or that of the church?
No, man. It doesn't come from Carnival. Came from, hear the question you're asking me. It came from way back in, Pastor Hill would have loved to answer that, way back somewhere in Exodus, when Moses had gone up to get the 10 Commandments, the tablets, and the people stayed, then they say they're going to make a golden calf. And the people revel in the Bible tell you, they come out to play. And all kind of thing, men with men, no doubt, women with women, and so on. And Moses smashed the tablets on them, and so many died. So God says in Galatians and a lot of other things that the fallen people will not see his face. The adulterers, the fornicators, and the revelers among them. And because of that, that's where I take my cue from. So he's not for reveling at all. God is not for reveling, and the Bible says so. That's where I stand with it then. That's
Go quickly to the telephone. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes.
Good evening, caller. Speak up, please. Speak up, please.
Mr. Christian,
Yeah,
I want you to ask you a question.
ask.
What is music?
What you ask me?
What is
What
music?
is music?
I wonder why you asked me that.
Can you answer
Music, I heard you. I don't know, but I'll try. Music involves vocal undulation, in other words, singing in a particular way, making songs, following certain notes, not only with the voice but with the instruments. And as far as I'm concerned, music is supposed to be accompanied by being happy, gaiety.
So that is what you know music. But I'll tell you, music is the harmony of the soul. That's what makes you feel happy. The harmony.
Well, if you listen to him, he conclude by saying that,
That is what is music. The harmony of the soul.
So, what's your point? Because I did say it make you happy.
Yes, because
Tell me what's your point.
When you hear a good melody,
Mm-hmm.
you could be deaf, you could blind, you bound to move, you know.
Yes, I have
So
no
that is
problem with
music.
that. I have no problem with that. I have no problem. I made myself very clear.
Yes, thank you very much.
Revelin, thanks,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, I think you concluded by saying that,
Yeah,
you have to
yes,
be,
I did.
you'll be happy.
Yeah.
That's what music does,
Gaiety.
Yes. You lived in Glasgow now.
Yes.
What caused you to move to Glasgow?
You're asking something.
You lived in Hillsborough Street prior to that, right?
Yes, that was my mother-in-law's property.
Right. So
Sonia and I, the wife and I, we had a lot next to Jay's bookstore. Jay's bookstore was my best man at the marriage, very close friend, almost like brothers. And so eventually I came to conclusion as I was developing and growing that if I can get a place, more land than just a normal house lot, 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 square feet of land, it means that I have more independence. And I came to the conclusion that I didn't want to be close to people. And so I did away with that lot. Looking back, it was a foolish thing. And so my wife's mother had land up there, so I approached her to sell to us. And she told me, get a surveyor, go and get him to cut out a piece. So he cut out a piece, it was about a quarter of an acre. And then it turned out that she didn't sell it to us. She took no money from us. And that's how, and so she bequeathed the rest of the land, because she's a person that doesn't like trouble, didn't like trouble, just like me, just like my wife. She said, I have 3 pieces of property, I have 3 daughters. Each of them will get a property. So the Glasgow property was left willed to her daughter, my wife. Mm-hmm. So going to stay to Glasgow is just a thing I do all of a sudden. I got a desire to have a house by itself, be isolated. That's how it happened.
Beautiful sight, beautiful view.
Wonderful.
You can see the port clearly. You can see the mountains of the south. You can see the prison from where you are.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen so many different sites. It's just an amazing space.
Well, you seem to be a very perceptive person. Let me tell you, I found out, because everything I do, I want to do a little research. When I go up at Monbruce, I see the roof of houses. Since a little boy going to school, remember in second form, I alone had a camera. We had rich people there, duping his hair, but my brothers and then give me a camera. So you take out the pictures and you see in roof. When you go to places like Stock Farm or even Center Rome and so on, you see a certain part, not all, but you can't see it too well. You go to King's Hill too, you see a certain part, but not too very well. The best view is from Monbruce, but you see in roof. But I noticed that when at Glasgow, you see not just roof, but you see the windows of people. You have a frontal view, not just roof you'll be seeing. That could be very mundane, a little bit very dreary, But so I came to the conclusion that the best view is at Glasgow. Mm-hmm.
There's a second best view. One in Egliston, where the
Egliston.
Solomons,
Egliston is
not
very
Solomon,
good.
sorry, Scotland's are.
You're
yes.
talking about going up to Jodel?
Yes, actually in Egliston.
Okay.
Yes, that view you can.
Yes,
see,
you can have a view there.
That
yes.
view you can see you can see the entire city, and you can see that whole of the city, and up you can see Fonkole.
Yeah, you're watching north.
No,
We are watching south. We
yes.
seeing right the view I'm seeing there right now. Scott's Head, the little isthmus, how you call it there. Yes, going in that little place. Oh no, that's not where I'm seeing. I'm seeing I think Cabrit. Where am I seeing?
Your
it?
daughter said growing up in Glasgow was beautiful, quiet, overlooking Roseau, and still filled with fruits, trees, and crops.
Okay.
Even today.
Yes.
Someone said that Mr. Christian, where is it? Someone said that you're very knowledgeable. The messages are going so quickly.
Yeah.
This man is very intelligent and knowledgeable. Another person said that I enjoy listening to Mr. Christian, quite knowledgeable in his field. And that is remarkable to hear from the listeners and viewers out there. Tell me, coming to the end, what you thought of the program tonight?
Me?
Yes.
Okay. It's just that I wish we could have spoken more about the innovative things that I did. Not to highlight myself. That's not the idea. Because I regret that they're not doing it. Forestry Week, exhibition, interacting with the public all over Dominica, which was one of my little things, brainchild, and then even in the gardens and at the People's Park, and at one time at Grand Bay, Marigot, Wesley, and so on. So we don't have Forestry Week again, and I'm sad about that. There are so many things that used to be done, and they're not having it. So I'm not washing my linen in public. That's not what I'm doing. But there are things that are happening now, and there's one last thing I must tell you. I told you I won't tell that before I leave. Why is it that Dominicans are so unmannerly? They are thankless. You drive the road, you stop, you allow a young child to pass, an elderly to pass, a middle-aged to pass. They won't say thank you at all. It's a difficult thing to see somebody say thanks. I didn't grow up like that. And so that is what I'm seeing. I'm watching not only the young people, the old people do the same thing. The grown-up people do that. Both pedestrian and motorists, they won't say toot. It doesn't cost a thing. A person stop and there's so much traffic and there's congestion and the person stop for you to pass. And you just drive. Boom. No pep. Thank you. Or the person, 2 girls last week, I told them, young girls, one pass, I said, it is not bad to say thank you. She said, thank you. And then another one again. This is the first time I really tell them that. I said the same. She said, thank you. I used to tell my children, let us for this week. We're going to do some research. See how many people will turn and tell daddy thank you. I also stop. One person started that way, a motorist, and a pedestrian walking said that week. They were all going to school in those days. They were pretty young. So it is still happening, and that is a sad thing for me, that we are not thankful. Even in the family, we see ingratitude. So I just wish that Dominicans would change. I don't know if the police are not being proactive enough, and there are certain things I could say myself. I see I've been a victim of that. You're not there to harass the public. You're there to facilitate, to help them. And there. I don't like that. We are a small country. We are not a big country. In Barbados, they stop for you. You don't stop them. They stop. I saw it in Jamaica. And I see the other countries doing that, the busy countries. But we don't do that on this little beautiful island. That's the only last thing I have to say. That program is good. And it's 4 hours passing, as you told me, like 1 hour. It's a pity. I wish I could have other opportunity to discuss other topics.
I for sure will get that opportunity to bring you in again, maybe on some other program on DBS Radio to talk on some other topics, especially on topics that deals with the environment.
Yes.
And forestry.
Yes.
You know, many people have agreed already with you in reference to the point that you made of how unmannerly that people are. Someone say that again, very unmannerly, very disheartening. You walk into a place, you say good morning, no one wants to even respond.
Not even in a bus.
Yes, sir, I am doing it. So you're very, very correct according to what I'm reading now. Quite a number of people are actually agreeing with you. I must say, tonight was a wonderful program. For persons who think that you didn't have a coat, you had a coat, but the explanation.
I feel a little better now.
Yes,
I stopped trembling.
You know, some person said to me that I need to bring some coffee or tea. I may have to do that for some people as the program goes by. You know, I just want to tell the people.
Just hope I'm not a tea. I'm not really a coffee man.
Yeah,
but
so you didn't drink Mac Cafe in your growing up?
No. The others drank, but not me.
Someone said, Cecil, another great program, another great Lakou program. Thank Mr. Christian. Where is it? Disappeared already. Thank you, Mr. Christian, for your service to preserving our forests and wildlife. A great educational opportunity, blessed night, and safe travel home.
Yes.
Wonderful program, Cecil. Another person said, Dominica has one of the best people in the Caribbean. He should come to New York to see on, what's that, some nastiness, something like that. Yeah. Another person said, good program, great program. God bless you, Mr. Christian. Great program again. And I really want to say to you, thank you very much, Mr. Christian, for gracing yourself. Before we go, let's take that caller, that last caller. Good evening, quickly. Sorry about that. Someone said, thank you, sir. I enjoyed. Do have a blessed night. Everyone, Cecil and Mr. Christian, get home safely. Thank you very much, Sandra, sir. And as I was saying, let's take that last caller. Quickly, caller. 10 seconds.
Christian. You hear me, Christian?
Yes.
You remember that big snake in Emsall Road?
Yes.
I saw it in the morning myself. Right on the left-hand side growing up in Emsall.
You had seen it?
Yes, man. I passed it there. When I saw it, I said, what? You know what you doing there? I live in it, I passed it back and I still live there, you know.
Yeah, but that one I saw was dead, but it was very big.
They kill it after that.
Okay, I actually drove over it and my vehicle, it was a little Subaru I had. By frightened, man.
By that was put down up there.
Yeah. All right, and thank you.
Yeah.
Well, someone just said, Cecil, your brother saved my life on the power in Bava State. I follow your mom to the river. I'm not so sure who is that Melta. I'm not so sure.
Your brother, Cecil?
That's what the person said to me. I am not so sure which of the brothers. We were always in the river, so I'm not so sure which one.
Yeah.
Always on the power. Very informative program.
Yes.
Have a good night. Blessed night to all. I remember that. Right. So,
yes.
Thank you very much, Christian.
Yes.
It was a blessing to have you.
Yes.
And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. And all the very pleasant remarks and very nice remarks. I thank God for them and ask God to bless them.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye. Yes.
Oh, good.
All right. We just speaking to Mr. Christian, who gave us a good life story, a good account of his life story, where he raised, where he was born in Chapeau and then raised in Lakou Tavernier, then on 62 Old Street and on Hillsborough Street. So he has had his fair share of growing up in the town of Roseau, now the city of Roseau. I want to say thank you, and to you next week. Again, we'll have another guest. Hopefully that my co-host will be with me. And again, as I said, I'll be bringing to you another program about 6:15, according to how long the program is, in reference to the war in Israel and the United States and Iran. So thanks again. My name is Cecil Joseph. I want to wish you the best during the week, and let's continue blessing our country with our talents. Let's continue serving our country with our energies. And I just want to say, God will continue blessing us as a people. Thank you. God bless you.
Military said it was conducting wide-scale strikes. Dubai International Airport has been closed again after an Iranian drone set a nearby fuel tank on fire. Our diplomatic correspondent Paul Adams assesses Iran's military capability.
It still has the ability to fire